It is a skill. It is a practice skill. It is a necessary skill. Ooh.
The secret to a great blowjob is saliva, saliva, saliva.
It's important for us to learn from this because I think we lose because we beat ourselves.
You need to swallow it too.
I understand the problem here.
The people don't understand esophagus is the main player of the game.
Try to stay away from it as much as I can.
You can start by licking the dip.
I didn't understand it, but
Patrick Agyemang to Bambi or a newborn giraffe or what?
All right, welcome to the Straight Red Card. Hey, I noticed that my thing behind me is backwards. The Straight Red Card logo is backwards behind me. Yeah, isn't that weird?
It's not backwards.
It is to me. But anyhow, that's not backwards to you.
No, you can look above your screen. You can see the actual logo in the top right-hand corner of the thing. It's the exact same direction.
It is?
Yes.
It's the opposite on my screen.
Wow.
Yeah, funky. Unless I've become dyslexic all of a sudden or something.
How much you been drinking today?
Not much. I just started. I took a nap. Actually, didn't get up until like 6:30. So
I know you're counting down the days until you're back to work and all.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to get back. Actually, I'm kind of excited about it. So there we go. Didn't want to. We don't have much fluff today, and one reason being there is so much to cover. With that, I
got some fluff, but it's like it's all soccer related fluff.
All right. I do want to congratulate Jack Crawford, the young American driver in Formula 2 for winning the Formula 2 British Grand Prix. And why is that important? Because we don't really have a lot of Americans succeeding anymore in Formula 1. We had, and looks like Jack is making a case for himself to move up to Formula 1. It's just kind of like, divisions in soccer, right? You got Formula 2, and if you do good there, you get to go to Formula 1. And, since 1978, Mario Andretti won the Formula 1 championship. Now, it's the last American to win a Formula 1 championship. Now, I'm not saying Jack Crawford's going to do that. But I am happy for the kid. I think he's much more promising than Logan Sargent was. He was the last American to drive an F1. He got a season and a half and was, you're done. You suck. So good luck to Jack, and may he please join the new Cadillac team next year. All right, that's all I got on my side as far as fluff. So let's get to you.
BMR wants to thank us for the shout out on Pete's video.
Yeah, you're welcome. Hey, we don't forget our folks. If you insult us properly, yeah, we're going to mention it. And you did a good job. And, that's why we have BMR around, to keep us honest around here. Yeah. What do you got?
It's just another day that ends in Y. You know how it is.
No Epstein file stuff. I mean, there's a ton of that all over Twitter. Oh yeah, no. You run on it for the whole campaign, and then you get there and you're like, there's nothing to see. Nothing to see.
We don't gotta release it after all. I'm just playing.
There are no files. There's no lists. There's nothing. There are no clients.
I don't even think there was a guy named Epstein.
Well, there isn't anymore.
Well, fair enough.
Yeah. Anyhow, yeah, I don't know how they convicted Ghislaine Maxwell of all that stuff and then had all those files during that trial. Where did all those things go? I don't know. Who was she? Obviously, she must have only been recruiting young women for him. But of course, nobody else, just him. Now, he may have been insatiable, so maybe that's the case. But I don't know. Seems something's off here. Something's just off to me. Something doesn't seem right. And the fact that our president is now all pissy when you bring the topic up, that's even weirder. So anyhow, that's really weird. Just some weird stuff going on Twitter about that and on YouTube. All right. Sorry, I interrupted whatever fluff you had coming.
Like I said, same day, different author. A new ESPN UK article questioning whether or not we can host a World Cup event because it's too hot.
Oh, Augie. And listen, I really like Mark Ogden, generally. I think I love his demeanor. I love his sort of straight face delivery of everything. But this take, not liking it. I mean, listen, what did we do in 94, right? That was a summer. We didn't even have little orange slice breaks for the players that year.
We weren't a bunch of bitches back then.
Sure sounds like there's lots of bitching going on right now, which is too bad.
All the bitching comes from one part of the world.
Yes. The Brazilians haven't bitched. Argentinians haven't bitched. The Saudis haven't bitched.
Those Middle Eastern haven't bitched at all.
No, they haven't said a damn thing. But
Egypt's like, oh, finally I get to cool off in America.
Right. And I can't believe Mark is supporting this crybaby bullshit. I really can't. Sorry to see it, Mark, but I'm not going to hold it against you.
I don't know about you. I'm actually taking the side of the Europeans because, as Tax says, I have a solution. Let's make sure we host all the games at night. And who cares what the Europeans think? Basically, I'm paraphrasing, of course, what he says.
Right.
And I said, no. The Europeans can't watch a game between midnight and 4 a.m. No one else in the world does that during a World Cup. I'm bringing this up because there are people who don't understand that I'm being sarcastic here.
I know. I mean, remember when the World Cup was in Japan and Korea? You had to have the games were on all kinds of weird hours, and we all got up for it.
4 a.m. Or record it and watch it at a reasonable time. If you can do that,
right? You take a nap, you watch it, and then you go to bed, right? But you take a little baby nap during the day if you can. But yeah, I mean, come on. I know it might be hotter this summer in June than it usually is. I think that's kind of true. I don't know if that'll be true a year from now. So
Miguel says the Winter World Cup would smack here. Let's do that. Hey, if they're bitching about the heat, let's do it during the winter, okay?
I think we have a good chance of winning. And so would Norway and Sweden and
the Winter World Cup, yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
There's that. But anyhow, yeah. Sorry, Augie, you just got that one wrong.
And people who react on Twitter and stuff like that, if you ever see somebody leave a exclamation, then a 1, that's a telltale that they're being sarcastic.
Oh yeah, is that what it is? I thought you just had heavy thumbs.
I released the shift too quickly, I guess.
Yes, you did.
No, but it's telltale. Come on.
Yeah, we all make those mistakes.
If you see that, you can pretty much assume the person is joking with you. Calm down.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. I think you should assume I wouldn't jump straight into being outraged is what I would say.
Yeah.
Don't jump straight into it.
Especially if it comes from this clown of a handle. Come on.
Right. Well, if they don't know us, as that one guy did not know me, shit can happen.
Yeah.
And you can end up looking like a clown too.
What, Derek? You don't release the names of all your sources when you break something that's not been broken by anybody else?
Yeah, I'm supposed to provide my resume. Yeah, I called the friendlies. I announced all the friendlies 3 months before they happened. How did I do that?
Every time you break something, you need to add your resume as a attachment.
Yeah.
So anybody who's questioning you can pull it up and be like, oh, this guy's actually done some shit.
I announced it. Norwich, we're going to make during the winter transfer window. Sergeant completely unaffordable. Which is exactly what they ended up doing.
Mm-hmm.
That was 2 weeks before that happened. And then we announced on this show who the Indianapolis MLS investors were before anybody else, weeks before anybody else. So, how do we get all this information? Well, it all comes from different places. But then if you want to, if you're on Twitter, you can look at who I used to write for, and you can then assume that I might still have some contacts out there, but also assume there are lots of people that message us and tell us things. It happens.
Well, feel free to go back through all of our old catalog and just see who we've had on the show. God forbid we actually keep up contacts with people.
Right. And sometimes it's those old contacts. Sometimes it's agents. Sometimes it's people from the camp. And sometimes it's family. And sometimes it's all kinds of different people. Like, people don't understand there are actually a lot of people whose families watch this show. And
I'm sorry about that in advance, people.
yeah, I'm sorry about that too. But, you know, I can probably tell you McKenny's family's watched this, for instance, this show before. Anyhow, we know that for various reasons that we're not going to get into. But that's what makes a source a source. You don't just go giving away your sources and telling everybody, you know, who they are. And then what's the point? I've never actually said who my hoppy source is, but I think I've insinuated enough here, for instance, when we broke some hoppy news a long time ago, that, yeah, I know somebody from the hoppy family. There you go. All right, there you go. That's as much as I'm giving away, though. Which person in the hoppy family? I'm not telling you. But if you've watched the show, it might be kind of obvious because, anyhow, going back, you'd have to go back 5 years to figure that out. But we're not giving it away here. Anyhow, go ahead, Brad. Sorry.
I'm sorry. While you were going off on that and everything like that, I just had to respond to another person. Didn't get my sarcasm. So Jeff goes, I did in 2002.
Whoa.
So I responded by, you are misremembering 2002. It's been over 20 years, so I understand.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, man.
Okay. Well,
all right, wait a
of course, is... Go ahead.
Other things people have misremembered is, remember when Leon got relegated, right?
No.
Totally misremembering that. Because they're not.
They're not going to be. So Matt and Tanner are fine.
Well, Tanner and then maybe Matt. We'll see. The transfer still has to go.
Well, I mean, we'll see. I think that deal's nearly done. But even if he gets on the team, he might pull a Turner, ended up being the backup goalkeeper. So
has it turned into the Turner now? It's no longer a Horvath? Because Horvath, I guess, is playing, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He's played. So
now, too.
We can't really call it getting Horvath anymore because Horvath plays. So, although because he plays, he doesn't get called up anymore because he used to get called up when he didn't play. So maybe he should go back to riding pine. All right.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
All right.
Aside from Turner getting a new contract with a new team, you know who else is getting a contract but not with a new team?
Dick Advocaat. Advocaat is being extended. Dick extends.
Yep.
I think that's a really weird title.
Pro Dick is extending.
I mean, I'm all for this kind of headline. I don't know if they did it on accident or they did it on purpose. I would love to believe they did this on purpose.
No, there has to be an erected in there instead of extended somehow. Dick Advocaat has erected, I don't know, new contract. I don't know.
No.
Yeah, you got to kind of work it in. You got to figure out how to work that in there.
I think they should have said.
Maybe. So first off, how do you say the national team again? What's his national team? I'm not even.
Curacao.
Curacao. Thank you. Maybe to erect Curacao to one of the top CONCACAF nations.
How about Dick extending or Dick extension? Those would have been good too. I would have taken any one of those. But Dick extends, sure. I think Dick extension or Dick extending would have been funnier. But that's just me. All right.
There you go. Ivan's got it right. Elongated his contract.
Contract. And God bless him with going with Dick instead of Richard.
Yeah.
God bless him.
If your last name is Advocate, you have to, right?
Richard Advocaat?
Yeah,
that's too much.
It's per Dick.
You go with Dick. And when you get older, people call you Dick anyhow.
Yeah.
Whether your name's Richard or not. God, got that frog back again. All right. What else we got?
You know who else is back? Not just Dick. Dick's not the only one back.
Okay.
The New York Cosmos are back.
Hey, my old team, my childhood team. Hey, you remember the last time they came back? Well, we had our show. They sent me a whole package with a Cosmos soccer ball, Cosmos hat, just because they knew I was a Cosmos fan and we were on big soccer. They're like, give us your address. We'll send you all our shit. So I think when I moved, I lost the ball. I still have the patch they sent. And what else did I get? A shirt, but it's too small. I can't wear it. Way too small. It's a medium. And I am definitely a large extra ×3. So that's not going to fit. Anyhow, it was really cool. I doubt they're going to send me anything this time because, we just haven't talked about the Cosmos for a long time. It's just good to see the iconic badge back and the name. And no, there will be no Beckenbauers and Pele's playing on this team anytime soon. And I'm sure they're just going to try to get out of League One and make it into, get promoted. But that's if all this promotion thing is actually going to really happen. I'm still in wait and see mode. I know they approved it. Is it going to really happen?
Yeah.
I want to see it first. All right.
I said, you're misremembering 2002. Jeff quickly responded by nope, and he shows me a schedule of all the early games. At which point I said, looks photoshopped, all the games were at 7 p.m.
Yeah,
I just want to see how long you can make this last. I mean, somebody's going to eventually tell him.
Yeah, I don't know.
Imagine.
Yeah, I don't know. Some people are a little thick. Anyhow, I'm sure he takes you for a super serious dude. So
super duper serious, probably.
NYFC
Let's throw me back. I can't quite figure that out.
I don't know. Floating a massive pigeon all around New York City today. Well, I hope it doesn't hit any bridges or rams in the side of somewhere.
Yeah, just imagine how much that float is going to pollute the ocean. All that fecal matter. That's gross.
Giant pigeon. Yeah. I don't know. Do they still got pigeons in New York? I asked because when I moved to Bloomington to go to college, they used to have pigeons in Bloomington. Remember that? And they used to shit all over the place.
But then the jobs all left Bloomington, and they had to leave too.
Well, they left. They did leave. I don't know where they went, but there have been no pigeons in Bloomington. I mean, I left 3 years ago, but there were no longer. You couldn't find a pigeon anywhere in Bloomington anymore. So I don't know what happened to them. People ate them. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, times were getting hard there in Bloomington with all the jobs leaving, so it makes sense.
Well, I guess so. No one to give them free bread anymore.
All right. Well, that's cool. I mean, that's nice to see. People are probably watching, at the shore going, what the fuck is that? But
I'm still asking what the fuck is that, and I got a close up.
I mean, they could have, just rented a plane and, sent out one of those, long, hey, come watch New York City FC and the U.S. Open Cup Wednesday.
Well,
I don't know if they're in the U.S. Open Cup or not, actually.
I know they're this is pretty, but I'd be more impressed if it were a giant cake on a floating barge. And then once it docked, everybody came out with plates and everybody ate cake all day. I don't know. All right.
Colin Reese says he saw a video of Indianapolis and it looked pretty nice.
Yeah, don't tell anybody. Please keep it a secret. We don't want anyone moving here. Yes.
Oh my God, Indy's the worst, man.
That's horrible. Don't come here. Do not come here. All right. It's horrible. It's egregious. Don't move here. All right. We don't want you anyhow. All right. Not you, Colin. I mean, anybody watching. Yeah. Stay where you are.
Colin, you're more than welcome to come and visit and assure that the video you saw was accurate. But tell everybody that Indianapolis is a horrific hell show. Don't do it. Don't come here, guys.
Yep.
I like being able to drive without too much traffic. I mean, there's still traffic, of course. We got people who live here, but
yeah.
I hear the horror stories of traffic, like over in California and stuff like that. And like, commuting takes like 3 hours to drive 2 miles.
3 hours? Yeah, that sucks.
And I'm just like, oh man, I could drive to Chicago in that time in rush hour. Fuck.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, there were a couple super chats I failed to not pull up here. So,
all right, for King Kalo for $1.99, Malik left his loosey goosey coochie granny at PSV. Did he? Okay.
Yeah, he's bouncing.
Yeah. All right.
He's like adios. But to be fair though, do you remember how much PSV bought Tillman for?
It wasn't horribly expensive. I think 12-ish, somewhere around
What's it
there.
called? They've nearly tripled their investment.
Yes, they're making a lot of money off
We'll
this.
pull him up here in a second. But how could PSV's not say no? And then Malik Tillman's like, I get to go back to Germany, you know.
And the crazy thing is Bayern are getting some money from this too for developing him.
Dude,
They're getting a cut.
So you bring this the cut off like that, but I'm going to spoil a transfer news coming up here in a second. But DC United had put in a bid for Griffin Yao.
Yeah, why would he want to go there?
And DC United also has a 35% sell-on clause or whatever it is.
So they're hoping for a deal.
Are they hoping for a little bit of money back from Westerlo?
35%.
Hey, we'll take our 35% back now, guys.
Yeah, we'll get into that, but he should not come back.
No.
Not to a team who treated him so poorly the first time he was there.
Not to a team that's playing so poorly, too. So,
yeah. SAFB, although, let's be fair, Westerlo are going to be probably relegation fodder next season. So there's something to consider.
But he's got interest in the EFL. So, start looking at that.
Yeah, he's got definitely other possible suitors. SAFB for $5. I don't know why, but I pictured Holden's voice making an excuse for Agyemang when you showed the baby giraffe face planting. Cheers, friends. Yes, that's a good point. He kind of has a super high voice. Oh, yeah. Yes. I hope that doesn't offend anybody. Gosh, I really do. I would hate it if anybody was offended by that.
You should see the blooper reel that Derek was doing when he was trying to make the noises for the baby giraffe. It was, a night of drinking. It was like 3 a.m. He was just making noises into his microphone.
I tell you what, that was done.
It worked out though, man. It worked out.
That was done in one take.
I see it.
All right.
But SAFB, thanks for the 5. Appreciate that.
We do appreciate it. Spencer Dirty for $5.69. Nice. Of course, not the best position. Not. So Bloomington has. Are we going to have that discussion again? 69 is not the best position.
I just give you a little turn of the head, a squint of the eye. It's not the best position, no.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not disagreeing with you there.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not like you going like, 69 gross. Oh, the worst.
I didn't say it was gross. I just say it's distracting. What am I supposed to focus more on? Her?
You follow it up with like me. You don't want to go down on a woman for like 5 hours straight all night long.
I am not doing that either. 5 hours.
Like my tongue is not that strong.
No, your face would be numb anyhow. All right, and
it'd be pruned up like a raisin.
Anyhow, whoa! I almost said something horrible there. Okay. Ooh, God. All right. Spencer Doherty for $5.69. So Bloomington has less pigeons. They don't have any pigeons. Than Muncie has working roads. Ha! Also, shout out to the Fire. Loss to MNUFC 3-1 under Greg's amazing leadership. Well, to be fair to Greg, I guess they were down a man, weren't they? As I remember it, watching it live.
And Omar got a red card in the 20th
That's right.
minute.
It was an accident.
Practically slapping the guy in the face. Like, whoosh.
He didn't do it on purpose, though. That's not
fair. It still happens.
You're still going to get a card for it.
Yeah, exactly.
But it didn't. Omar's just not the kind of guy that does that.
He didn't pull away. I agree with you on this.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And it actually goes to show. And I made this argument earlier. And Spencer, I don't know if you're Frontier, if on Twitter or not, but we actually held Minnesota off to a 1-1 draw for regulation.
Yeah,
and then they get a goal second half, or the first half of
extra time,
and then they get a late one. So the 3-1 score looks bad, but it was actually much closer.
It was close for a while. Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for the 5, buddy.
Thank you, brother.
While we're talking about MLS, I guess let's go ahead and bring up a Pepe quote.
Just a major difference from the U.S. It's the speed that you play the game a little bit. You don't have as much time as you think, or it's just a different intensity, he explained. But for the most part, both leagues are good. Yeah, of course, it's not going to take a poop on the league they develop.
It's a very PR comment you made here. You're not going to just shit on the league that developed them. Now, Luca De La Torre could do that because he never got developed in the league. And he could say like, "Oh man, MLS is horrible, not compared to the European leagues. Well, now I'm going to go to MLS and play, but.
Well, to his credit, he's doing much better in MLS than he did at Celta Vigo that last
Fair
season.
enough.
So,
but we've made this argument a number of times. Yeah, I mean, whenever we say like, oh, so and so should go to so and so should take up this opportunity to go to this league. I know the league's kind of a lateral move. We talk about Belgium, we talk about Denmark, we talk about Holland, even to an extent. It's a lateral move, but there's definitely differences. And he talks about the speed of play, the speed of thought. Whereas I always talk about you always have 3 or 4 guys nipping at your heels trying to take your spots. It keeps you sharper than if you're guaranteed practically to never be left off the starting 11 if you're a top player at MLS.
and if you're playing at PSV, you do get to play Feyenoord, and you do get to play Ajax, and you do get to play, well, this year Utrecht. You know, we're really good. So
for a number of years, yeah.
You know, now once you get to the bottom of the Dutch league, it's absolutely horrible. But, you know, that's all the things you have to balance when you're saying, you know, trying to be objective about which league is better than this league or that league, which I hate that discussion because it's impossible to say. MLS is the most balanced league in the world because of the cap. Everybody spends about the same amount of money unless you're Miami. Yeah. Whereas, you know, the difference between what Ajax invests in their team and what Go Ahead Eagles invests is miles apart. So not fair, right? Yeah. AZ is usually another really good team there, right? Along with Ajax and Feyenoord. So you do have some games that are going to challenge you there. But then you're going to have some laughers too. So there's that. I had bad memories of Bloomington because it's where my dog passed away. Well, I mean, I just lost a dog 4 years ago. Lost Gizmo there. I lost 2 cats. You know, so I don't know. My memory
balance itself out, right?
No, my memory of Bloomington is poor, mostly because of the fact that I spent so much time there trying to defeat big developers from building ridiculous, absolute monstrosities that will be half empty here soon. And then what are you going to do? Tear them down? And from stopping developers from tearing down single-family homes so they could build these monstrosities. And that's a battle I lost. And it's documented. It's out there. And also from them going after me in the news, in the local paper. I got threats, death threats. Yeah. So it's time for me to leave. And I can only hope that Bloomington Restorations is still doing okay since I departed as the president. All right. But it was an uphill battle, and we weren't going to beat those billionaire developers. That was just never going to happen. Julian Vivas for 199. Is it true there is a beef between Poch and Pooley? I don't know if there's a beef, but there's certainly a discomfort. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, well, this topic's definitely going to be coming up later, but I don't know, or at least a put off, right? Like Poch might be put off a little bit because we had talked about on Pete's show, and I think probably on the U.S.-Mexico watch along, that I wouldn't be shocked personally. I wouldn't be shocked if Pulisic was left off in the September window. I mean, we mentioned this before everybody else started talking about it. Yeah. But then we also talked about, well, no, he should include him. Maybe Poch just doesn't start him. Because if you got to send a message saying, hey, you should be honored and willing to come and sacrifice for the national team all day, every day, and then you don't, then maybe he needs to send a message a bit like, hey, you're not replaceable, but, you know, well, other people here want to die for the bad.
And we'll get into this, but it's not only Poch sending that message as he did on the show with Timmy and Landon Donovan, where he's like, no, the greatest players always want to play for their national team. Mm-hmm. Always. The best players always want to go play for their national team regardless. And then he's got his bulldog, Adams, out there on various shows and interviews now in clips saying, yeah, well, you know what? If the new guys come back and they don't get their shit together immediately, they might not ever get called up again. Oh, and by the way, yeah, I showed up and I had a long season and I came back from an injury and I was actually really tired when I got here and I played through it. He's pointing the finger at one guy in particular, right? Pulisic and maybe Musa. I don't know. This might be a call out to Musa as well, but we don't know Musa's sick circumstances.
Yeah.
You know, his were personal reasons, and Poach said, if he wants to disclose those personal reasons, that's up to him, but I'm not going to do it. So there you go. Is there a rift? There could be, but I think that Poach has said, laid down the law and said, I'm the boss. And I think he fully has Betty Crocker's support on that. So
and that's what I'm like. It wouldn't surprise me to send a message by simply saying, "Hey, when I call you in, you show up ready to go, or you don't get called in."
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't get called in, but then gets called in the October, November, or whatever window we have coming up after that before the Camp Cupcake one. Tony wants to know if I can put up a poll if Pooley gets left out or not. I could do it on Twitter. I cannot. We don't pay for the high enough StreamYard package, I guess, to be able to post a poll on here. So, unfortunately, I'm going to take a look at some of the things here real quick.
I mean, we can put other kind of polls up if you want here. But we'd probably be pulled off air if we did that. For the 169 of you here now, make sure that you like, subscribe, share with your grandma. Thank you for showing up on Thursday night. I don't know what else there is to do, honestly. So there's not a lot going on. I've got the replay of Norway, Iceland up right now, the women's Euros. But no games really on a circumstance and kind of disappointing. You know, you have this whole month of soccer every day. It seems filled with soccer and then boom, it's gone. You're like, what the hell? What am I going to do? Well, I got MLS and I got MLS Cup or excuse me, the Open Cup. But yeah.
So we've covered in the past a couple of journalists who got their press badges removed, taken away from them.
We've even had them on our
some
show.
Of it was like, and some of them were like, it's because it's not my full-time job. You know, some of them was, hey, I was too critical on this one aspect, and the team didn't like it. But here comes another one out of the blue.
Yeah, MLS and U.S. Soccer are the most egregiously sensitive sons of bitches ever. I mean, so go ahead. This is Daniel.
I've got Daniel's response to this afterwards. So let's read what 343 has to say here. We can start at all Daniel said or did.
All Daniel did was ask if Steve Tarundolo has a message for supporters who've been disappointed lately. And Steve got really mad in the presser. And when he gets mad, he looks like a total bitch baby. I got to tell you that. Then LAFC cut it from what they released to the public and removed Daniel. You see, guys, this is how MLS operates. And U.S. Soccer, by the way. You, the people, aren't allowed legitimate reporting journalism. The only thing you get is Stasi-level propaganda. I'm not going to explain what Stasi is. Go look it up real quick. It's anyhow. Will fans support? Let this stand. This is a litmus test. Of course it is. That's why I said way back, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to write articles. I don't want to. There were a few guys you could ask really stupid questions to or harsh questions to who laugh at you, and then they tell you why your question was not appropriate, like Bruce Arena, right? He'd correct you. He'd go, here's why your question's dumb. I'm just telling you this now, so when you ask the next time, you won't do it that way.
Like
but
a Roy Kent type of response, like, well, that was a dumb question.
And let me tell you why it's dumb. Like, it wasn't just, you're banned, don't ever come back. Because, Bruce could have done that back way in the days, and he didn't do that then. And, he's just was not a banner of people. But now they've got all these PR departments that work for all these teams full of all these fucking suits from Ivy League schools who are super sensitive, like tender victual sensitive. And you say anything negative and you are gone. And we've talked at least about 5 different journalists here who've lost their passes or ability to cover the sport. in person because of this. And it's just going to keep going on. And now, that's why I messaged Bogert personally and said, listen, I'm really wondering why it is nobody's asking about Nathaniel Brown. Were you told not to ask about it? Now, he never replied. And I've learned a lot more about Tom behind the scenes since then. I didn't want to know, but I know some stuff now about his past and where he came from and all that.
Keep that will out of my timeline.
But anyhow, yeah, he's not he's a very defensive, like, don't come at me, dude, kind of guy. So don't ever be critical of him. He'll block your ass. Huh?
He's got the power stash. He's good.
Yep. All right. Thank you.
Here's LAFC Daniel responding, by the way.
So Daniel says, hey, I got banned. Thank you for everyone who has commented with support. LAFC PR did not remove my credentials because of what I asked Steve. Had a lengthy phone call with the PR about things. My credentials were removed because I told you about it on Twitter. That's right, because they cut the camera for a reason and didn't release it on purpose. And then you went ahead and talked about it anyhow. So you're banned, Daniel. You're out of here. You're a traitor. You're making Steve look bad. You're making the organization look bad. No, you are making yourself look bad because now you look like a bunch of pussies. So
I just don't understand, man. Steve's got one foot out the door already. Who cares? I mean, LFC should be like, I don't care. Go ahead and make him look bad.
Who is Steve Billings Asylum? What is this?
Do what? Oh.
The guy
the asylum dude?
cramming our chat with his whatever. Do you have the balls to get on a panel, or are you little bitch pussy? We dare. What is he talking about? All right. Well, be prepared to ban that guy, because if he's just going to do that over and over again.
I put him in a timeout there.
All right.
I don't even know who the fuck he was responding to. Or
I don't know who he's responding to or what the at was, but you can't spam us. All right. So don't be putting the same thing over and over again, talking about the same thing. Thank you. Anyhow, Mauricio Pochettino also this is his response. By the way, they started their own U.S. Soccer podcast. U.S. Soccer has its own podcast hosted by Alejandro Bedoya, who I like a lot. But they told him, here's the list of questions we want you to ask.
You sent me a screen cap of it on Twitter or on Facebook, or no, sorry, on my phone text message. You're like, hey, look, U.S. Soccer started a podcast. And I go, I bet you anything to just softball questions. He goes, they have been so far.
Yep, they have been, and we're super soft. Super soft. Anyhow, to one of the questions, this is Poach saying, I go back to January when we made a roster to play 2 games against Costa Rica and Venezuela. I look now, nearly 6 months after, and plenty of the players that were involved were very involved today in the Gold Cup. This is why I think today, working for 1 month, I think Diego Luna or Patrick Agyemang or Max Arson or Sebastian Berhalter or Luca that play in MLS, they are paying a lot of attention from different European clubs, different countries. Okay, well, we know one for sure.
Luca De La Torre? No.
Luca De La Torre is on loan to San Diego anyhow. He's still owned by Celta Vigo.
Yeah.
So that's not exactly, he's in MLS, but that's not permanent.
There have been rumors or confirmed contract signings for every single player you mentioned, though.
Rumors.
Or signed contracts, like in Patrick's case.
Patrick, they agreed on everything, and he took his physical today, but I don't think the papers were signed.
The physical got approved.
Approved, but they still have to sign the damn thing, right?
I feel like once the physical's done, it's technicality as far as just signing that.
It usually is. You're right.
Fax it back to us. Fax it back to what is 1992?
Yeah, fax. They still use fax. That's not even a fucking bullshit. Also, it's ridiculous. Arson, by the way, whoever is recruiting or interested in Arson better know he is not a left back. He is a left winger. You better play him moving forward, or a left wing back at best. But he ain't a left back. So play him going forward. If you are an EFL team interested in Max Arson. Okay. Physical fail because I found out he's actually a baby deer. The DNA test showed little bits of giraffe in him, and baby deer.
But this is a nice little segue thing. I appreciate it, Poach. But
Transfer news, transfer news. Who's getting mounted on transfer news? Who's getting over on transfer news? Transfer news. Everyone loves that transfer news, but me. Whatever.
All right, we got a few of these to cover, a bunch actually. Just in, Patrick Agyemang has completed his medical today at Derby County. Now it's just down to paperwork. The fee agreed is in the region of 8 million plus 2 million in add-ons. Charlotte retained sell-on clause. The deal is almost done. Yet the Clit coach today seemed really perturbed by this.
Oh yeah, I got that pulled up just next because. I mean, on Pete's show and everything, we had talked. I think we may have even talked about this beforehand. I'm not even sure, but they come for somebody comes for Agyemang, and they're like, "Hey, we're going to pay you $8 million, which is $4 million above what his market value actually is." Which doesn't necessarily mean anything because I mean, just because the market value is listed at something doesn't mean that there isn't a team that's going to be like, "We want this guy, we're going to pay double him," you know?
Yeah.
But something you're Clinton, you're going to get 10 mils.
Yeah, quit complaining.
I'm just sitting there going like, yeah, of course they're going to sell his ass. Of course they want him.
I mean, take the money and run.
Like you were saying, if it pulls up here, it'll pull up in a second. Yeah, the coach has a different take on this.
Well, we had told you last week that his agent was pushing this shit and not the team. So he says he feels like Pat's move is more of a push from his representatives than from Pat. Dean adds that he feels like the championship isn't much different than MLS. Well, I think Patrick will do fine at Derby. I think he'll score a handful of goals. I think listen, the championship, the bottom 8 of the championship is usually complete hot garbage. Complete hot garbage, especially the 3 promoted teams. And then the next 5 are garbage. So that's at least 8 teams you get to play against all year that you can score some goals on. No problem. And then you can squeak in some against some of the other better teams in the championship. So he'll probably be fine. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Again, I hate comparing leagues, but I would generally say the championship is a bit stronger. It's a bit more top heavy. However, MLS is more balanced. So it's comparing apples and oranges again.
I don't know how Derby plays. I haven't sat down and watched them play at all. But are they going to be expecting him to be a standalone striker?
Yes.
Okay, then I mean it's going to be questionable because I mean the center backs of championship are physical beasts. They're just I feel like the center backs are going to be better available center backs there than there were on MLS for the most part.
I'd agree that 80% of the championship will have better defenders and defending. So we'll see. That bottom 20%, you got to take advantage of that and score all your goals there.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially
Patrick scored 18 goals this season against 3 teams in 4 games.
I mean, we'll see. Wrexham, right?
Hey.
We'll see how that goes. Like, they're promoted. They might actually stay up, and they may not be awful. So we'll see. But there are always 7, 8 horrible teams in the championship.
Daniel says, watch Agyemang lead the league in goals. Hey, I would love it. As much crap as we kind of give him from time to time for various reasons, too. Not right. Willy-nilly. But, I mean, we watch his matches. We see him playing. I've watched him play 12 times for the U.S. men's national team. And while it's a simplistic analysis to simply say, well, he's like Bambi on ice. It's just a metaphor describing that he's constantly falling over and not staying on his feet.
Yeah. So listen, if he took like 6 months or 3 months during the offseason and went to Brian McBride's new school for center forwards, which does exist, by the way, and he got specialized training about how to shape his body, how to hold a player off. It won't fix his feet. That's the only other problem. But if he could just learn how to use his body more effectively and stop falling over, I think he could be something. He ain't going to Barcelona, all right, Landon Donovan and Timmy.
Oh, no, don't ruin it. We're going to get there in a second.
But he could learn to be effective enough. Now, I would stick him in a box and kick fucking corner kicks at him all day until he figures out how to head the fucking ball. That's another thing. You got to be able to put away headers, right? Which he didn't do in this last window. He had at least 2 tries. Both headers went straight to the goalkeeper. So, all right. Yeah. Oh, God,
Agyemang,
you do have
I hear different arguments. He's a number 9 that makes things happen. He does. And you can talk about clinical finishing and so on.
You could talk about it, but it's irrelevant, apparently.
I don't necessarily think his finishing is all that awful by any means.
It's not good.
It's not. Well, it's not the best of our 9s. We'll put it that way. What he's getting, and they're going to get into this more. But what they're getting at is he's dangerous. He causes things to happen. He's dangerous around the center backs because he's a physical being who gets in on physical conflict. Just not tackles per se, but like he's constantly pulling their jersey while they're getting pulled and all that stuff, and he's causing things to happen.
Sure.
So I mean that's what they're alluding to.
Then hire Hulk Hogan if that's all you want. Mm-hmm. I'm just telling you that's not like there's so much more he could do with his body and his body shape and the way he sets up, and his instincts are not great either when he has the ball, as in that pass, which should have been a through ball to Luna. I mean, that's a great example. All the headers straight to the goalkeeper, and the 3 breakaways that he missed during this window. One of them was offsides. Okay, so it wouldn't have counted anyhow, but he missed them all. So I don't want to hear it.
I mean, I don't necessarily think he brings anything more so than say Haji Wright does in that role.
No,
Haji Wright's a solid holding striker who can
Haji Wright
run behind the lines and everything.
Haji Wright is a super skilled, way more technical player who knows how to use both feet, by the way, and knows how to run lanes. And his IQ is way higher. Soccer IQ is way higher than Agyemang's. It's not even close. I'm sorry, it just isn't. Haji Wright's just a better overall player. Is he as big as Agyemang? No, but he's still a physical presence.
It's not terribly far off.
He knows how to use his body and shield a ball and put off a pass to somebody. He can do that. I know he spent most of the time playing left winger for Coventry, but he can play striker too. But are they comparable in a lot of ways? Sure. But I think we'll find out next season.
Haji Wright is 6'3", so he's 1 inch smaller. Okay.
I like his frame better, though. It looks more balanced to me. Like, when I look at Haji Wright, I just see a big, strong dude.
We got to remember, up until the season with this current club and the EFL and everything, he's played nothing but striker for the most part.
Yeah.
So he is a legit striker. He's just been playing. He's been played out wide, or as a second striker at times.
They tried him up top at the end of the season a number of times, and it just didn't work out. But we'll see if they keep trying. By the way, for the 203 of you here now, on Twitter and YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe, and share with your grandma. Lean over, give your stepsister a big kiss on the cheek from us.
Makes things happen. He drags people along. I know there's going to be some people out there that disagree with me. Show me another US 9 who is dangerous. And dangerous can be categorized a bunch of different ways.
No shit.
But show me another one. And he can do things.
Well, then you should probably categorize what you mean by dangerous. Then
you should, because if we're just going to go with, and there's lots of ways to define dangerous, then Balogun's dangerous in his own ways. Fucking Sargent's dangerous in his own ways.
Yeah, Balogun anywhere in and around that box with his ball at his foot, that's going in the back of the net.
Pepe's a clinical finisher. He's dangerous. Mm-hmm. Name me a number 9. I just named 3. I could add Haji to that. Maybe not as a 9, I guess, but he kind of plays as a second striker for a lot of the season. That left wing keeps cutting in and constantly. So I don't know. Whatever, Tim.
He's on his own, LD. And as a U.S. striker, we've talked about this over and over and over again throughout the years. A U.S. number 9 has to be able to do things by themselves on their own. These games are comfortable, but when stuff really starts flying, you're going to be isolated.
I mean, he gets so much.
These games were comfortable for him? He didn't look comfortable to me.
Wait, but I mean,
he looked awkward.
He's hyping him up and everything. He's like, yeah, these games are easy, but when we're playing better opposition, you got to do things on your own. What makes you think that he's going to be able to do things on his own against better opposition?
when he didn't really do like the complete job against Guatemala and Haiti. Like, I don't know, what are we talking about here? This comes back to the whole thing. A lot of these guys, and I put out a post, some people didn't like it. Hey, maybe so many people wouldn't have been like coming back at people about Agyemang if people like this, the media, didn't blow smoke up her ass about Agyemang and then later tell us they were just tossing her salad. Really? That's what they did. They blew smoke up her ass. Everybody got agitated. They said, this is a great player. He's going to be great. He's really good. He's just missing this or he's missing a little of that. He's just a little awkward or whatever. No, I'm sure he could, if he fixes that, he could play for Barcelona. You're blowing smoke up her ass and then telling us later you were just licking our ass. That's bullshit. We don't believe you. Okay? I don't know whose ass you're licking. I don't know why you have to be this nice. Just be honest. You got to be honest about the player. And then other people won't be like, what the fuck, dude? Why are you blowing smoke up my ass? Like, I'm watching the games.
I mean, and it's fair if their assessment of his game was that he's dangerous, he's causing problems for the defense. I mean, there are definitely times where he's getting physical with them, he's pulling, he's trying to go around him and stuff like that. Sometimes the ref's not going to catch it, sometimes he is. I mean, I get it, but like you're saying, the blowing of smoke, the constant prop, without necessarily. I mean, I don't think they mentioned a single. I mean, maybe the full unedited version of this. They talk about, he needs to work on this, he needs to work on that, and then at that point, maybe he'll be a more complete striker. I don't know. I'd have to go back and watch the unedited version of this, I guess, in order to see if there is a negative spin on it, or even just a critical spin on it.
Not really. The only guy who's been pretty honest about this has been Davies. All right. Everybody else has been pretty gentle. Miola.
I think the Call What You Want crew itself
they've been pretty fair. Yeah. I'd say they've been pretty good and pretty fair so far. Davies, Miola, Jimmy. Everybody else, Stu calling the games. Constantly making excuses for players. It's just too much. Stop it. Don't. They made a bad play. Say it. You know, well, you know what? And they always say, look at that. That's why he's here. At one point, Stu said that. Oh, look at that. That's why he's here. Come on, man. That's not why he's here.
It's funny because if you people who actually sat down and watched our watch along for the games and stuff like that, there'd be times where Derek and I would be like, oh, that was a great hold-up play by Agyemang there. Well, that was a nice move by Agy. You know what? I praised him for the goal that Seb played into Richards and got the header on it. People on Twitter are like, oh, yeah, and who drew the foul in order to get that play? I'm like, yeah, it was Agyemang. And I gave him props for it, too.
Yes.
I mean, we're not out here just to shit on the guy. We're out here. I personally, my feeling is, I'll look at his game and I'll rate him. I'll say, hey, yeah, he's like fourth or fifth for me, maybe.
Yes. So, and you know, when he scored that goal with that back and forth from Malik Tillman, we said it live on air. Hey, that was pretty good. That looked pretty good. We need more of that, but we didn't get more of that. We got a lot more falling over and tripping over and clumsy play. Like at a point that adds up. And the good things, they're not shiny enough. And the bad things pile up. So he's got a lot to fix in his game. And he's already 24. He's got a lot of work to do. And maybe he'll have the right coaches at Derby that'll show him how to use his body in the right way. Or go take a visit to Brian McBride. Some of this can be fixed, but not all of it. His technical ability is not going to get fixed at this point. He's too old. He is what he is on that particular thing. But at least that's what I would like to see from guys like this. Less smoke up my asshole and just more, hey, let's be real about it, though. Let's be real. There's a lot of things that need to be fixed here. That's all.
Crap, like from people, and people don't understand the sport, and they don't understand that you can be effective without being like this clean, clinical. Of course, if he was a clean clinical, he'd be playing at Barcelona. You know what I mean? Like, give the guy some credit. He's 24.
if he'd be clean and clinical, he wouldn't be at Barcelona. There's still other aspects to his game he needs to improve upon there too.
I mean, you have to be 100% clean and clinical and technical, right? That's just.
And I get. He's like, you don't have to be clean and clinical. So I guess what he's saying is that it's okay that you're causing problems because when you fall down in the box, you're taking one or two center backs out of the equation because you've ran over their shins or something like that.
Yeah. Listen, a lot of people had a good thing. So I was thinking, if Dirk Diggler didn't take all those drugs, he would have been the biggest porn star out there. But he did, and he couldn't get it up anymore. Like, there's all kinds of things you could, but what ifs and buts. But you can say all those things, but the reality is there are a lot of deficiencies. Some of them can be fixed. Your IQ can get better. You can learn how to use your body. You can work on your balance. Your technical ability, it's pretty much where it's going to stay. I don't think it's going to get any better. I think we're spending too much on Agyemang, but anyhow.
He's making a great career for himself. In his first 9 U.S. men's national team appearances, he's scored 5 goals.
Yep.
That means he's tied with a guy who was pretty damn good, Josie Altidore, for the 6th fewest games needed to score 5 goals. He doesn't need to be a world beater, but he's been really effective for this group.
I can't take any more. I really can't. That's just. Colin says he doesn't fall down a lot. Yeah, he does. I wrote down 11 notches. I wrote down every time he fell down in that last game. 11
and
times.
That doesn't include just stumbling over the ball or tripping over your own leg. That could be getting rammed from behind and drawing a foul,
which happened twice.
Not all fallovers are equal by any means. But yeah, the guy spent a ton of time on the ground.
He won 2 penalties, and we gave him credit for it during the game when he did win the penalties. So not all of the 11 were just him crumbling to the ground. Sometimes he actually got fouled and didn't get a call either. That was a couple of other times. So 4 out of the 11 times he fell down weren't all his fault. The other times, I can't say so much.
How many times did Tillman fall? I mean, a lot because, again,
they were brutalizing him.
Of the time, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he practically had a dick rammed up his ass all game long.
And how many times did he almost fall and then not fall? He got pushed, whatever, and kept on trucking. So, I don't know.
Again,
let's not try to turn Timothy Tillman into an example of comparison with Agyemang.
Yeah. Again, there's sounds like there's a lot of bagging on Agyemang at this point. But quite frankly, I feel like we've been pretty impartial as far as our assessment because we give him props when he does something that's worthwhile.
We've said he's a good kid and that if he works on some things and he gets to Derby, he could score some goals for Derby. He's a large mammal. Those large mammals actually generally work in the EFL. They do. So I think he'll be fine. I don't think he's going to be a world beater. I don't think anybody thinks that. But I think he'll do fine. I think there are like 8 to 9 teams in the EFL, the championship, that he can score goals on every time, as long as he stays upright. That's a problem. So,
striker in a perfect world, full fitness. Who are the 3 that you're taking?
Who are the 3 you're taking?
Right now, Balogun,
perfect world.
Pepe, and Sargent.
Yeah.
So
the first 2 can flip flop. I think I'd probably start Pepe over Balogun at this point because of recent history.
Yeah, I don't care about the order of those 2.
But I'd say Pepe, Balogun, and Sargent's my 3rd.
Yeah. Now,
you could say Haji is the 3rd. I mean, it doesn't matter at this point.
Sargent could go to Burnley and next season and have a horrible season.
Good.
Absolutely horrible. So it's possible. And Haji could score 16 goals for Coventry. Then that discussion changes. But I don't generally throw Haji into the center forward question because I don't think Poch thinks he's a center forward. I think he's a left winger. So
yeah. He's probably just watched how he's played at his club level and go from there.
Yep.
A perfect world, I'd probably take Balogun, Pepe, and it's a toss-up, right, between Agyemang and Haji Wright. Balogun, he's who I would have liked to have played with. I think that it'd be like a pickup style. I think that I could play him through. He'd get in space. He could beat a guy. I'd be running late to get into the box, and he could find me, and then I could get onto something. I think we'd do a lot of give and goes off of each other.
Well, I mean, that's nice, and I think that would work. It would work out well, quite frankly, if Deuce in his prime and Balogun in his prime, obviously now, played together. I think they would work well, but not in the current system that we're playing, where the 9 is standalone, generally speaking, and generally has to play this back to goal, which is one reason why Balogun was slow to take off with the U.S. men's national team.
Yes, and he bitched about it too, straight to Greg's face.
Yeah, he really only started finding success when Gio was behind him.
Right.
So, and it'd be interesting to find out if you had a Toman Luna behind a Balogun in a Gold Cup, and how many goals would Balogun have scored?
A lot more.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I don't know.
There were some brilliant little passes that people don't remember that Tillman made inside to Agyemang, where he tripped over the ball first touch. And it just can't happen. That can't happen. Like, I'm sure somebody's put together all of the follies there. There are lots. And I'm sorry, this is not an attack on him. We've already said, I think he'll do fine at Derby. I don't think it's that bad.
Mm-hmm.
I think he, like I said, if he can get somebody to work with him on how his body shape in general when he's holding up the ball, that'll help. There are other things he can work on and get better at. Technically, I don't think he's getting much better. So
we posted this on Pete's show. But Max said some of you people are too consumed with Patrick Agyemang. You should just go ahead and ask him out. And I responded by saying he'd just fall head over heels for me, and I'm not looking for something that serious, Max.
Yeah, did you see the one I replied to that said some of the same things? These dudes 100% are obsessed and are sexually having gay fantasies about Agyemang. And I wrote back.
Are you talking about Noblet?
I think so. Do you have that one?
Oh, I don't have Noblet pulled up now. I can find it if you want.
And I'm like, what's wrong with gay fantasies?
Yeah.
Yep.
The Hangry Asian says severely underrated response. And I said, I know, right? Only 29 likes and 508 views for this. I thought this was a brilliant piece of art right here.
I think it worked well. I laughed when I read it.
Well, it's not the only zinger by me, because Eric says he's right, and we're going to talk about who's right. This is about the CA Stellar whatever Agyemang's agency.
Oh God.
We'll go into that in just a second, but Eric says he's right. Take it easy on Agy. He's fire. And I responded by saying, is that why he falls a lot? Stop, drop, and roll?
Ooh, zinger. Yeah, that his agent's embarrassing.
Only got 27 views. Once again.
Yeah.
None of these get viewed, and I'm upset about it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. It's, listen, I don't want to go nuts about this Agyemang thing. He's off. Good for him. Off to Derby. We'll see how it works out.
Yep.
Let's see.
Hold on real quick. Let's see. This is the last thing to do with Agyemang.
Okay. This is basically US. Yeah. It's Trev saying, hey, I reached 5,000 followers, so I'm going to donate, $1 per 100 followers to the mental health charity in the U.S. Mental health is an area I'm very passionate about because it's so important for our well-being. It's looking like. And then his agent, that is Bambito's agent, says, do you think the mental health of Agy and Arf is affected by your negative tweets? Maybe, but sounds pretty soft. I really don't think that he was even that harsh on them. Trev has usually been pretty nice to both of those players. I don't remember him saying anything that damning or hate-filled. He didn't go to their page and call them garbage and crap or anything like that. So, yeah, this is too bad. This is a bad look for an agent. This is like daddy coming to the rescue. This is not what it should ever look like. This is not what your agent's job is anyhow.
Mr. Pulisic right here, right?
God, it's so soft. Like, yeah. And it makes it reflects bad on both of the players too. I'm sure both the players are like, oh man, don't post that.
But Steve, come on. It's just winding down.
You're just making it worse. That's all you're doing is you're making it worse. More people are going to pile on you now and him and your players. So don't make a public display of trying to be, I'm here to defend because you are so bad and you, Trev, and all your horrible posts are making my guys mentally unstable or whatever. Give me a fucking break. It's ridiculous.
Colin says, wild how you guys think you have the right to insult players online and it isn't out of line. You just won't admit to the idea that insulting people is not okay, especially when you can't play. Colin, I do have the right to insult whoever the fuck I want to insult.
Right.
The big difference here is I'm not actively seeking out these people to bash them in their face. If they happen to stumble across my Twitter feed or watch our show, that's on them. I have the right to say whatever the fuck I want. I live in America.
We are the nicest insulters, by the way, out there. It's not like we came on the show and we said, that fucking Bambi is a complete piece of shit garbage player. He's fucking completely useless. What a fucking trash of a player. We said none of those things. If you are going to say that using a metaphor like Bambi or a baby giraffe, if that's what you call an insult, then you have no fucking sense of humor whatsoever. It's a metaphor, dude. Get over it. Now, if you want to call that an insult, fine. And all the softies who think things that are jokes are insults, get over it. It's not. Quit being so fucking soft.
Yeah.
We don't come on here and call players names like useless, garbage. The names that I saw on their personal pages that people put, yes, that's disgusting. And I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't go to their play and onto Bambi's homepage and say, hey, Bambi, you suck dick. You're like the worst soccer player I've ever seen. I would never do that.
If I wanted to say on Twitter, just posting it on my feed, say, oh my God, Arsenal was absolute garbage today. I can say that. Mm-hmm. It's okay. It's fine.
That's true. He's playing like garbage is a fair comment to make on Twitter because he's having a bad day. Garbage being a metaphor for having a bad day. But you didn't say, you know what? He's a horrible person. I hope he dies or something crappy like that. And unfortunately, some people did do stuff to that level, and that's not cool.
Colin, right? It's not against terms of service. We're not harassing anybody. Because, again, we're not going out and actively seeking these people out. There's a big difference between name-calling and harassing somebody.
Yeah, kind of like when you call people dumbasses and retarded all the time. That's offensive, okay? We don't do that, ever.
Well, we call people dumbasses, sure.
Dumbasses, maybe, but those are usually not players. We don't call players dumbasses, all right? But we don't call people retarded. That's like your favorite thing to say. That's offensive, all right? All right, go ahead, Brett. Let's move on from this bullshit.
Untouchable is trying to hurt your feelings.
Derek sucks at accents, and tell him that. He's just not a giant pussy. Yeah, there's nothing less appealing than a giant pussy on all levels. All right.
Colin, you are just as bad as you claiming that we are.
Oh, he's the biggest hypocrite. He calls people names constantly. He calls people stupid. You don't know game. You're retarded. You're dumb. He does it constantly. Constantly. It's like the perfect kettle calling. Yeah, you know the saying. All right. I don't need to go there. But, it's hypocrisy of the highest level. No one calls people. Now, you've gotten better. I'll give you credit. You've gotten better. I think you've toned it down. That's good. But nobody.
I've occasionally gained a sense of humor here and there.
Yes. Nobody offends more people online, or used to, than you. All right. All right. Source, Vancouver Whitecaps have club option for 2026 on Sebastian Berhalter. That is planned to be triggered as clubs like Real Valladolid. This one always gets Valladolid are eyeing him for free. They're eyeing him. Ooh. For free.
Valladolid?
Valladolid, yes.
I don't think you sound out the L's there.
Valladolid?
Oh.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't even know if I said it right, but that's how it is. I mean, Spanish isn't my strength. Are eyeing him for free should he not have option triggered? Oh, they'll trigger the option. Trust me.
100%.
What a joke. They're triggering that big time.
Hey, Vancouver, maybe you don't trigger that so we can get them on the free. Come on, man. Come on. Of course they're going to do
They're triggering it. Yes. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, Vancouver wants their money. 100%.
I am really, really shocked at how you would this one baffles me. Like, where does he know someone who knows someone who knows someone, or know his agent? Because that's the only way you're going to know this. It's not like you're going to go hang out at the Valedictorian sites and find out this info, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. That one you got to know somebody deep in to know that's a fact about that. So, not saying it's not true.
Yeah.
Valladolid is.
Yeah,
he's correct. Double L's or a Y. Yes.
Yeah, I said that, and you said no. I said.
Oh, I didn't hear you.
Oh, maybe I got fucked up here. Oh.
I didn't hear you say that. Yeah.
All right.
Valladolid. Yeah, you're right. Yep.
Yeah.
I get it wrong.
I
Sometimes
just remember the whole Mallorca thing all over again.
Yeah.
Mallorca, or whatever we said it was.
Yeah, because it's not Mallorca, it's Mallorca. Yes, you're right. The double L thing always gets me in Spanish. Always, every time. It's like if I want to pronounce Marseille, I'd have to pronounce it Marsella. No L's. All right. Tim Ware wants Marseille. More to follow between clubs with Juventus. Well, he's leaving.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. I don't know. I mean, you'd think Marseille would probably be able to afford it. I wouldn't be surprised if this is more like a loan, honestly, than an actual sale. But we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, rather go back to France. That's where he grew up as a kid. He knows the language. He's comfortable there. You know, he's not even sure if he would have played at Nottingham Forest, but I think he's pretty comfortable in his thoughts that he can play for Marseille.
That was kind of my post when I quoted this. Is like, you know, he turned down the Forest move to the EPL, and he's looking to move back to France. Does he see that league is more his pace as far as being able to get playing time consistently? Again, personally, I think he would have fit Nuno's style 100%. It's just whether or not he would have gotten the playing time over Hudson-Odoi and Elanga.
Elanga, yeah. I don't know. There's something else he must not have liked about that deal.
Yeah, spotted dick, apparently.
Well, I get the feeling that when the spotted dick, yeah. I think that's delicious, actually. But it could have been they were like, yeah, we really have you cited in to be our left back or our right back.
That could be, you're right.
Yep. And that he's like, I don't want to play left back. I don't want to play right back or wing back. I want to play forward, winger. That's where I want to go. Somebody who's going to play me as a fucking winger or a striker.
Huh. I guess. Before we get to this real quick, I guess Elanga is gone. Did Newcastle come back with a higher bid?
I guess so. He's gone. So that opened up. But I do get a feeling. I always got a feeling like something else is going on in that whole conversation. Gibbs White gone too. Wow. What the fuck?
Wow, it really opens it up.
Damn.
Spider Zlatan says, didn't they ask him to take a pay cut?
They may have. Maybe. Absolutely.
We
don't know. They're not going to ever divulge the specifics of that, but something
with Odoi and no, Gibbs White. Never mind. With Elanga gone, that opens up things.
It does. It does now. But again, what if they just told him outright, we're looking at you as a left back? Then he'd be like, oh, I'm not playing there. So my grandfather is from Versailles, Ohio. Not Versailles. Versailles, Ohio, but they pronounce it Versailles. Of course they do. We mispronounce all kinds of shit here in Indianapolis, in Indiana in general.
Favorite show go to.
Yep. Gnawbone instead of Naybone. They just renamed the whole city Gnawbone because they just didn't want to actually pronounce Naybone.
Yeah. So here I've got a rumor here about Josh Sargent, but the guy's not even a blue check. I can't trust him at this point.
Yeah, he's probably just putting this up for money. Oh wait, he's not going to make a penny from this. Not a penny. So luckily, I only had 2 people who thought this is bullshit out of the 60,000 people who saw it, or 62,000. Okay. Only 2 people said bullshit or you're full of shit.
Yeah, 18 mil looks like Norwich is requiring, which is down significantly what they said at the beginning of the window.
Yep.
But that was going to happen regardless.
Yep.
I'm sorry, Sergeant. As much as a stan as I am, nobody's gonna pay $30 million for you.
No. And it was interesting to hear that Leeds were still lingering. They hadn't given up completely, but then Leipzig had jumped in. And that Wolfsburg had been like, no, we give up too. So, I mean, Wolfsburg was like, we give up. So,
yeah.
Bro cited his own account. I guess he doesn't realize I at you on all my posts, but almost all of them.
You started off pretty cordially here.
Oh, yeah, I'm a nice guy. Yep.
And then he goes, okay, so you have no source then. That doesn't make any sense.
I said I have a reliable source.
You tagged me into the post. I'm not the source, bro.
Obviously not. P.S. You're fully welcome not to believe this report. I could actually care less if you believe it or not, because I'm not doing this for money. Yeah. All right? Okay, so you have no source? Then yeah. Yes, I do, and it's reliable. I don't post many announcements. It's rare. And when I do, I only do if my source is reliable. Check my history. Since you are unaware of my background, never announced any bullshit. I think that's pretty solid. I don't see the real value in posting that. Well, apparently 60,000 other people did. I know you wouldn't believe someone with zero source or reputation, so I know why would you expect others to. If you don't expect that, what's the point? So you can come back later and not say I told you so. Just keep it to yourself, man. Who's this dumb shit? This guy wins Dumbass of the Week. Your ignorance of Derek's history is not our problem. Feel free to believe him, but you are coming off as the idiot in this interaction. Yeah. It went on for a little while, but he said I was full of bullshit. I'm like, hey, you can believe whatever the fuck you want. I don't care.
And that's the thing. I mean, you're more than welcome to just say, hey, you're full of shit. And we'll just sit there and say, believe it, don't believe it. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, the dude was asking for my resume and shit. It's like, hey, there's plenty. It's like, you're a nobody. Nobody knows you. It's like, there's plenty of information. I'm a public person. All my shit's available. You could just Google me. You'll find out everything. Go to YouTube and put in my name. You'll find tons of shit about me. I am not a secret. If you don't want to believe me, that's on you. And it's not my job to do your homework. You want to find out whether you should believe me or not? Look it up yourself. So I forgot the part where I'm supposed to give a shit about what you think. I really did. All right. Tom Bogert. Sources. DC United submit an offer to Westerlo for Griffin Yao. DC up 35% sell on. So Yao trying to see if they can get a favorable deal. Yeah, don't do it, Griffin.
So Westerlo's looking for, let's throw out a number here, $6 million, and DC would have gotten 35% of that. So DC is going to go back and say, hey, we'll pay you $4.5 million, which is basically $6 million minus the 35%, and then blah blah blah. I'm assuming that's what they're aiming to do here.
It's such a pointless buyback. Just let the kid stay, and I don't think he wants to leave, frankly. And why would you want to go back to a team that never played you, who actively fought against you leaving and actively fought against you playing and wouldn't play you? I wouldn't go back to that fucking loser-ass organization. DC United's a cesspool now. It used to be one of the most awesome of the franchises there. That's what they are. In MLS, they suck. They suck. Yeah. They pretty much have sucked on the regular since Bruce left. And, I mean, they had a couple okay years with Rooney, but generally, they've been dog shit is what they've been.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Untouchables wants to know if that's legal. I mean, imagine that if DC were to make 35% of a sell on, if Westerlo sold Yao to some EFL side that's interested, which there is one at least, because that was the talk of we're going to have one American on every single EFL side, so there's always going to be 3 Americans in the EPL, and I guess 3 Americans in League 2, I guess, or League 1.
Well, let's.
But is it legal? I mean, if you just tell them, hey, let's dock the 35% off, not make it on paper or anything like that, because DC would have to pay some kind of taxes on that 35% when they get it, right?
Well, let's just say let's frame it this way. Let's say I was a pimp, and I had a prostitute, and I sold that to you for $2 million because you were at the next level of pimpery. And then later on, I came back and said, hey, that time I sold you that prostitute for $2 million, I'd like her back. And I know she's only worth $5 million now or $4 million, but I'd like a 35% cut on my buyback because, I have the sell on for her. Remember our 35% sell on deal? So if you sold it to the pimp above you, that for like 12 mil, I'd still get 35%. Yeah, that's kind of how this is all going here. But if I'm him, I don't want to go back to me.
Mm-hmm.
Just stay with Brett, okay? Stay at Westerlo for another season or go to one of the other suitors, because if you come back to MLS, history shows your career's done, especially with you with the national team. If you come home, all right, and you're going to stay. So find another club, a bigger club in Belgium, or how about Holland? Go play for Go Ahead Eagles or something. Go up a league level from Belgium to Holland. Try that out. Go play at Utrecht. All right? That's what I would recommend. If you come back this early, you're done. You will never go back. And if you do go back, you'll go back and play in Latvia or Lithuania. You won't be playing anywhere where anyone will notice what you're doing.
We're not talking about Latvia or Lithuania.
Yeah, dumbass. All right.
Okay, let's see. Are we doing transfer news? No, we're not.
Oh, my
Henry
God.
basically says that he can confirm that DC United did place a bid, but Westerlo is not considering a sellback.
Yeah, that seems.
Westerlo has a new deal out for you, but there's interest in Europe as well. Throughout Europe, I think is a very generous way of saying the EFL.
I wonder if Tom is mad about this. I wonder if he gets mad at Larry Henry when he does this.
Undercut. I was going to release it in just a little bit, man.
Why don't you calm your horses, Larry? Why don't you calm your horses, dude? I totally knew that. I just didn't post it yet. Why are you raining on my parade and correcting my post?
So you talked about how, if Yao came back to MLS, it's pretty much done with his European and not U.S. men's national team career. Because, obviously he's got Camp Cupcake. And, hey, the current regime is bringing 16 players to a Gold Cup camp. So anything's possible at that point.
I suppose. But, yeah.
But there is a pathway. There is a small pathway. This next player could be on the verge of taking that path.
Yeah, it's rare. Reggie Cannon and QPR have won their appeal. Wait.
Oh, sorry. I was waiting for so long there for transfer over.
Against Boa Vista Court of Arbitration. Boa Vista now owe Cannon money. I don't think he's going back, though, Brett.
Yeah.
He's not going back.
He left Boa Vista for QPR on free transfer on wage wages or late wages. But then he had to leave QPR because of the whole court deal issue, right?
Right. He could go back, but let's keep in mind while he was there, he was not a regular starter for QPR.
Oh, that's beside the point. That whole going back to Europe is kind of a joke at this point.
Yes, for him it is.
That he's finally the gates have opened back up, the pearly white gates, and he can head back to the promised land if he gets the opportunity to.
Right. Whatever happened to Rokas Buksas? Well, it sounds like he might go play for Lithuania. Number one. Yeah, he has. That's one of his 3 different passports.
I thought it was Croatia.
He's got that too, but he's still at Hajduk, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know. He's had his ups and downs, but now the manager has been fired. So I'll have a new manager, and we can start from scratch again. We'll see how that goes. But there are significant rumors that he's considering playing for another country, not us. Okay.
No, he's not getting a sniff, and there's a reason he's not getting a sniff. And it's not because he's not a talented enough player to get a sniff. is weird to keep saying. But I mean, then he went through that whole spell of not playing primarily because of his manager.
Yeah. But I mean, with his international career, he's looking at this point at his age and going, am I ever really going to get called up to the U.S. men's national team? Is Croatia ever going to really call me up? Probably not. So I guess I got a better shot if I go play for Lithuania. So anyhow, those are the rumors. God, I hope I'm getting the country right. Now you made me doubt it.
Gattuso's coaching Italy? Hopefully like a youth team, I imagine. Probably not the actual national team?
No.
Man, Italy doesn't want to make a third World Cup.
I know. His record's not great, Gattuso. And he's a loudmouth, which I don't mind. That part of him, actually. Not Luxembourg. I don't think.
Let's talking about Luxembourg.
Let's talk about Latvia and Luxembourg.
It is the actual national team. He's coaching the Italian national team. God. Can't
No
help
shit.
He's been failing into gigs left and right, and some of them upwards.
Failing upwards massively, crazy. All right, well he's got the name.
We go from Spain to France to Croatia to the Italian national team.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Well, good luck to him. I don't follow.
Yeah.
Don't really follow the Italian national team that closely, so I'm kind of just surprised to hear that news. Regarding the transfer fee of Malik Tillman's move to Bayer Leverkusen, German media outlets report the fee is 35, while Die Telegraph reports the fee is 40 mil. 5 million, yeah, I'll take it, but I mean, the numbers are probably pretty close. It could be 38 for all we know.
Yeah. Maybe the Telegraph is actually reporting it in American dollars.
I don't think so. There's a euros next to that, but
maybe they mess up. I'm just saying.
It could be 35 plus 5 million in potential add-ons.
True.
So that's 40. Whatever. It's not a big enough difference to worry about. Good luck to Malik. It's going to be a massive challenge for him. I think he's up.
Or is it 40? But the 35 is after the sell-on clause to Bayern.
Yeah. There are all kinds of,
rigmaroles.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just happy for him, and I hope he kicks ass.
One's got to imagine if Leverkusen's spending that much money on him, they have all the intention to play him.
Oh, yeah, they do. They don't spend that kind of money unless you're going to play. It's just, yeah. They're not going to give up on him. There's just no way. That's a lot of fucking money for Bayer Leverkusen. A lot. They're a selling team, not a buying team. So this is really almost out of the ordinary for them. Spanish club Celta Vigo, who finished 7th in La Liga last season, are among European clubs interested in 21-year-old Real Salt Lake and U.S. men's attacker Diego Luna. I want this to be true. I want it to be true.
Yeah.
I really do. Who was the source for that one?
Mr. Bogert.
Well, then it's probably pretty true. I mean, at least in the fact that his agent has definitely told Tom that. There's no doubt. So now, whether the agent's full of shit, that's a whole nother story, because agents can be full of shit. But honestly, I think it's probably there's some truth to it. Shredder. Let's see. Guest number 9 on our show. Back in the day, yeah. I said my piece on this. See my transfer article over at ASN. That is a really cool site, by the way. People need to go there more often. But as of now, there are a lot of U.S. forwards in the championship. Shit, yeah, there are. Most people forget about Charlie Kelman, but he's back with QPR after a really great season in League One.
In fairness, people probably forgot about DK as well because he's been injured for 3 years straight.
Right. It's going to be cool to be able to turn on ESPN. I think they're still on ESPN, aren't they? EFL next season, or were they on
Paramount? EFL's
Paramount. That's right. And have a select group of games you can pick from, and you got to watch 6 games now.
Yeah,
6 EFL games. or
It'd be nice
5.
if the same teams just purchase players, but not. Well, I guess we're going to get to the point where there's always going to be an American versus an American.
Yeah. Kelman, as far as I understand, is back from Leighton to QPR. So they're going to give him a go maybe this season and see if because he scored a shitload of goals for them.
Yeah.
Sargent's going to move. He's going to go up. He's going somewhere else. He's not playing in the championship next season, so don't have to worry about that. Right? Okay.
Yep.
That'll be one less EFL game I have to watch next season.
Okay.
All right. And then, I'm really interested in seeing Downs in the championship since we got to see so little of him in this camp.
Yep.
And, after watching him at Kern, I was really kind of like, oh, yeah, I can't wait to see this kid play for the U.S. team and see what he can do. Because I've seen what he can do with Cologne or Kern, whatever. Don't care. Pronounce it the way you want.
Yeah, you are in.
So we'll see what happens. I'm going to watch a lot. I'm going to be watching a lot of championship soccer next season. A lot. It's going to be overwhelming. But what I'll probably do is, make sure I go to the games and find out if they played first, then catch the replay.
There'll be significantly less Serie A because Weah's leaving. Weston's on the chopping block yet again.
Yep.
Which is surprising because leading up to the Club World Cup, there was talk about getting him signed to a new contract, maybe slightly better contract.
Yeah.
So did negotiations just spill? Did West want? Hey, I want $3 million, not 2.5.
Yeah. Look at Untouchables getting on my balls like you do. Now it's Kern.
Yeah.
It's Kern.
K-U-R-N, I know, right?
K-O-L-N with an umlaut over the O. All right, anyhow. Doesn't matter.
Kern. That's what I hear.
Kern.
Just
all right. I'm gonna start saying Cologne, just so you guys leave me alone.
Cologne.
All right, for the 250 of you here now, make sure you like, subscribe, share it with your grandma. The numbers have been going up, folks. For us, it's been all positive. So hit subscribe and follow or whatever. If you're on Twitter, hit follow. So, yeah, we appreciate the support. It's been great. Now we're about to go into a little lull here before the September window. Not going to have a lot of soccer, so we'll see what happens coming up. AJ1410 for $199. Guat deserved the final over the U.S. Better final.
No, I wouldn't have been a better final because I wouldn't have watched.
And I don't know about the word deserve, though. You kind of usually get what you deserve. So, deserve such a weird word, It's kind of like an
fucking deserve.
Get what you fucking deserve. Yeah, exactly. I'm not a big fan of that word, but I see what you're getting at.
What,
Guatemala did. This is the best Guatemala I've seen in a long time. Let me just put it that way. It really was, and I'm happy for them. So we'll see what happens for them going forward. All right, Tyler Adams has a player that impressed him the most at this summer's U.S. men's national team squad was Paxton Aronson. Didn't impress Poach, but it impressed Tyler.
I was just like, but I'm not like, what did Adams see that Poach didn't? Or is Poach so stubborn on his subs and his 11 that he maybe he saw something in Paxton, but just not enough to usurp Luca De La Torre or Sebastian?
Maybe he couldn't get the nightmare of Switzerland out of his head. Because
Yeah,
none of those players played much again.
It's true. That's true.
The
funny thing about that, though, is that he took the blame on that.
But did he really?
Nah, that's a great point. Yeah. He didn't really. He's like, it was my fault for playing a whole new team because I thought they could handle their own.
Exactly. That was one of those things where you don't really. You're saying you're taking the blame while at the same time shitting on all the players that played and gave up the loss. That's what he did.
I think I even I quote tweeted it because I think somebody posted a tweet or a quote of his saying, you know, I take the blame for the result against Switzerland, and I think that was all the quote was. And I was like, oh, look at that, a coach actually taking blame.
But then when you read it more,
accountability. Oh, there's more to it. Shit.
Yeah, when you read the full paragraph, you're like, oh, he's saying I'm taking the blame for playing these shitty ass players that I put on the field because I didn't know they were this shitty. That's essentially what he said. All right.
Yeah.
I was like, Brendan, his brother can't be anywhere near the little Brendan. I don't know why you'd think that, but when you see them and you see Paxton, he couldn't be any more different than Brendan, which is something we said here quite often. He's a little bit more defensive, more box to box, but he just plays his role so well, and he can finish. Where, you know, you put Brendan near a box, and he gets nervous. You put Paxton in the box, he scores.
But here's the thing: you could put Paxton anywhere on the pitch except for defense and goalie. He's played it all. He's played the false nine. He played out wide. He's played the box to box holding double pivot with Utrecht.
CAM.
He's played everywhere. Yeah, exactly. He's played everywhere.
False nine. He played that in his career too.
Yep.
He says, and he did some things in training that made me say this kid is special. But then when I went and talked to Poach, he said, you're wrong. You could see that
I was wrong.
You could see he has grit and fight to compete every single day. He has a high level of quality that Poach can't see. He'll have a great career, and he just has had a great season at Utrecht that Poach never watched. He will go on to do bigger and better things if Poach gets out of his way. Wow, great quotes from Adams. I like the way he's taking it to Poach there.
Yeah. Maybe Poach will listen. Maybe I missed it.
Yeah, I don't get the feeling that the players have any say about who they think is really good and should be playing, which is probably fine because we had too much of that before. But yeah.
Although again, though, it's telling him of all the new faces in the camp, he singles out the one player that got no minutes,
almost none.
He had the Gold Cup.
Well, 0 in the Gold Cup, right?
Yeah.
Switzerland,
45 overall in camp.
He got to eat some Swiss chocolate, and that's about it. It was over after that. So, all right. TT's in here. Look at Larry going crazy. U.S. men's out team trash. Larry, we're going to sit Colin Reese on you. You're not allowed to say things like that.
I think Larry's been trying to get Colin to respond to him for the longest time.
For the longest time.
He's been pro Colin side.
Whoa. All right. We got more Adams. This time delivering Poach's message.
To be quite frank with you, I was happy that I was able to even make it through the tournament. Was my body in a position to play at the highest level come Gold Cup? No chance, but I know I have to be there and continue to try and support these boys and give my...
Damn!
The first part of all that, when he's talking, doesn't it almost sound like it's like an AI video?
Yes, but they might have just changed this with an Adams AI video with him spanking a half-naked Pulisic in the ass cheeks as he said those words. Because basically, he's saying, yeah, I had it rough all season, but I had to be here to support these guys.
Yeah.
Not like that bitch at AC Milan. Yeah, he didn't show up.
As Carly likes to point out, too, though, Weston and...
Oh, we'll get to that. You've got that, right?
Yeah, I've got... Well, I don't have the one that you sent me. I have the entire video. And
we don't need that. I sent you the actual part. I sent you the actual part.
That's fine. I've got timestamps for the whole video.
You're going to... Oh, my God. We're going over that. Okay. The whole thing?
40 minutes. Yeah. No, not the whole thing, Derek. We got timestamps for the whole thing, yes.
All right. Well, you did the work, so I guess we'll do it.
I watched the whole thing.
All right.
Well, I skipped the women's Euro or UEFA Cup, and then I skipped the women's national team section. I was like, whatever.
Right. Sure.
We're not covering that on our show, so that doesn't matter.
Right. All right.
Myself an opportunity as well to continue to try and cement myself in this national team and leave a legacy behind.
Why not ask for a break? Why not ask for a vacation, Tyler?
I know.
To me, that's a message. That's a message.
I don't know what the hell just happened and where we just went to, but yeah, that
we went back to studio.
That was a fun stick that Davies did there, and Adams was like, "Ooh, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that.
I'm not going there," but he did go there already. Yeah. Basically, he's saying, "I'm Pulisic too, but I am the tough Pulisic. I showed I'm fighting for my spot on this national team because I'm not taking it for granted that I'm going to be on this national team. Others." All this without saying it, others possibly have taken for granted they're going to be on this national team. As good as I am, I play for Bournemouth, and I knew I needed to be here to support these guys and bust my balls, and I knew I wasn't going to be 100%, but I showed up. Unlike that other guy. He doesn't say it. He doesn't say it, but he might as well be saying, unlike that other guy.
I could have been playing golf this time instead of sweating balls in the hot American summer.
Yep. Yeah. All right.
Have to be there. He has run himself into the ground for club and country. He still was there.
Let's stop beating around the bush. This is a message to Pulisic. Right?
Yeah.
It was a direct response to what Pulisic didn't do. He did despite being under very similar circumstances.
Okay, good to see him getting this right because this guy gets a lot wrong very often.
I like Nico though.
I
like Nico's Twitter presence much more.
I don't know. I follow him.
But that brings up points like, hey, I've been injured a lot. Didn't get a lot of playing time until the end of the season. And I played like a bunch of games. And was I fully fit come Gold Cup? Nah, not so much, but I still came. Yeah,
that's right. Right. No, this is definitely a message to one person. Pulisic, maybe Musa as a side. Right?
Yeah.
Although Musa had nothing to be tired about. He hadn't played that much for weeks, months. So I hope his personal problem really wasn't that bad. But I think you looking for another club is not a big enough excuse not to come to this team. So I hope that
you got an agent for.
Right. So, yeah. Adams is a butt boy, not a leader. He's certainly speaking company line. He is definitely on message with Poch. No doubt.
See, now, if we go A team captain, I mean, I'm leaning towards Jedi.
Well, Jedi certainly wore the armband for Fulham multiple times last season.
I mean, Jedi always leads by example, but then again, he has no problem saying things like they are.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember going into Copa? There's a quote he did. Him and somebody else did. It's another Euro. Everybody else is this is just a stepping stone for the 2026 World Cup. And Jetty's like, nah, man, this is Copa. This is some serious shit. We want to win it.
We're going to win. We're playing to win. Yeah. When everybody else was like, well, it's a stepping stone. He's like, no, fuck that. We're here to win. That's the attitude I'd rather have. All right.
Agree.
Interpreted. I don't think there's too many other ways to interpret.
I don't think there is another.
In the same interview, he said he has 3 weeks off. Bournemouth gave him 3 weeks off, which is something that he said I usually never get.
To be quite,
but AC Milan could have done the same thing for Pulisic. AC Milan could say, yeah, go ahead, play that tournament. Then we're going to give you 3 weeks off in the off season. You won't have to come to camp. You won't have to come train. You can just be around, show up. I know the other guys are on tour and playing friendlies. You just relax for a few weeks and just show up at the field and kick some balls around and go home. No big deal. Take it easy. Like, that's something you and your agent can work out with the team if they know you're a major piece and player on your team, they know you need some rest. He could have done it too, honestly. The deeper we get into this, the more things could have been worked out. Pulisic could have worked them out for himself to take 3 weeks off.
Here we go. They've got the actual quote, and I just wanted to he said it quickly enough, and I just want to make sure people know exactly what he said. It goes, what's my body in the position to play at the highest level come Gold Cup? No chance. But I know I have to be there and continue to try to support these boys and give myself an opportunity as well to continue to try and cement myself in this national team. and leave a legacy behind.
Legacy behind. Oh, that's so aimed at Pulisic.
Dude,
I'm sorry. He can deny it if he wants, but that is taking dead aim.
But that's also preaching, you know, the coach's lines, Poach's lines.
Oh yeah,
he needs to cement himself with the national team.
Oh yeah, that's all Poach.
Basically said, "Hey, bro, nothing's set in stone at this point. You might get left off. You never know."
That's why Poach mocked the guy who asked the question. Hey, when these guys come back in, oh yeah, you already have my lineup, my roster for the next September window. Oh, did you ask AI to put that together for you? I get to decide, bitch, who's coming back and who's not. So don't throw names at me that you think are auto going to be on the team in September. Yeah, there's some shit going on here. No doubt. No doubt.
Okay, so this is Pochettino talking about the fans. You want to grab this one?
There's one thing in soccer I want to explain, how important the fans are. When I used to play soccer, for every soccer player, when you have the support of the fan, it regenerates the football player's energy on the field. And also, when you don't have it and the atmosphere is against you, it drains your energy much more, right? And it makes everything harder, like my penis. And the energy always has to be regenerated internally and come from within using testosterone. I think in the last two matches versus Guatemala and Mexico in 4 days, the team felt that a bit. Beyond the fact that we played well and had a mediocre tournament, good. I think it would have been different if we had two stadiums where the crowd was reversed, not so much against us. Guatemala and St. Louis, 90% for Guatemala and 10 for the USA. And today, instead of 70,000, well, I'm not saying 70, but if there had been 60 or 50 of our own people supporting us, it surely would have been a bit different. But, well, that's the situation that we're in.
All right, before we jump in too much into this, there's another quote by Richards who has his own take on this as well. So
Well,
I'll pull that up real quick.
his is more fucking reasonable, if I remember it right.
Yeah.
It's nobody's fault. We're a country full of immigrants. It so happens that their love for soccer is a little bit higher than, I guess, natural-born Americans. But us, as a national team, all we can do is put in passionate performances and hope the fans follow us. The amount of fans that did we have in the crowd, we definitely heard them, and we definitely respect them and love them. Come World Cup time, you never know. Hopefully, we've run the game a lot a year, and hopefully we'll have a lot more fans in the stands. So, whereas Poach is crying like a whiny-ass bitch and doesn't seem to understand the situation and doesn't also seem to have any context for the fact that this team has been a failure for a while, and thus the enthusiasm for the team is certainly, nor does he understand the ticket prices, which he's, of course, not going to bring up because he works for U.S. Soccer. Chris gets at least one part of it. Hey, we got a lot of immigrants here. People drove from like 600 miles out to watch their Guatemalan team play, and they're Guatemalan Americans. Get over it. This shit's gonna happen.
How many times does Guatemala fans here in the U.S. get to watch your team live?
Rarely.
Very rarely.
Yep.
Very rarely. I mean, unless we're playing them in a Nations League lead up or whatever, or a Gold Cup. Those are the only two opportunities, really. Because I mean, when was the last time Guatemala made the World Cup qualifiers?
Yeah,
we've played them in earlier stages than that, but of course people are going to travel for that. And I responded to Chris's post. Said it's the pricing of tickets, the performance of the U.S. men's national team, the quality of the opposition, the repetitiveness of the opposition, the repeating of venues, the likelihood that the U.S. men's national team will be closer to my house at one point. But ultimately, the point of blind support no longer stretches as far as it once did. Show us why we should spend excessive amounts of our money traveling and attending the matches rather than streaming it from the comfort of our homes.
Exactly. Because the viewership was way up for a lot of these Gold Cup games. People just not going to the games. a lot of these venues, as you say, have had the games, the U.S. men's national teams, over and over and over again. It's the same venues over and over and over again. What about Indianapolis? What about some of the other cities that haven't hosted a U.S.? You bring that U.S. men's national team versus Guatemala game to Indianapolis, that fucking place will be 50-50 at the worst. All right? But you didn't. There are people starving here in Indianapolis to watch the U.S. men's national team play. They would have gone. But no, you're in the same fucking places over and over and over again. There's so many cities that have been totally, shanked in this deal.
Well, now that I'm talking about that, like jumping back to the ticket prices, we're going to the Columbus game against Japan in September. I still need to get the tickets, but looking at the ticket prices, it's like the cheapest seats you can get are anywhere between $50 and $80. And that's the top of the Crew Stadium and off to the corner. So you're in either the defensive or offensive third.
I mean,
they're going to be bad seats. I think they're going to be perfectly fine and good seats actually. But still, the cheapest seats are $50 to $80.
Yeah, CP of Mars. Last comment.
The one need to do a reach round.
Because every time you read one of your sentences, I went, yes! Yeah! This is like a When Harry Met Sally moment. The cafe scene. All right. Being in the same places doesn't stop Mexican fans from showing up. No, it doesn't. That's true.
And surprisingly, even after their 3 or 4 year stretch of shitness.
But they're also doing well now. And there's a lot of hope on their end, right? So, yeah, I guess it doesn't stop them. But we have a very cynical base right now because our team's not performed well in a number of tournaments in a row. And so it's sad. It really is. But that's where we are. And I guess you have to kind of balance that with your paycheck, too. A lot of people struggling with that. Not that Mexican Americans are not struggling. They are, too. They just, I guess, are, more.
They prioritize it more, I guess. Maybe this goes back to the quote up here. We'll find it real quick. There we go. Their love of soccer is maybe
a little bit higher.
Well, and I don't agree with that per se, but also I don't necessarily want to give my money to an organization that's just spinning its wheels and not doing anything to improve.
I think it's fair to say there are a lot more fanatics in the Mexican American communities for Mexican.
We're a niche population, and our niche audience as a whole, because obviously it's different because there's more Mexicans who love the sport than the U.S. Fans.
Yes,
but that doesn't degrade the quality of love. And the big thing here is that you take that Mexican population. You got a huge Mexican population that's born and raised with the sport, with the ball at their feet.
With the ball at their feet, yeah.
We have a fan base similar to an extent, but they're spread all the way around the world, all the way around the United States.
Right.
So it's in lesser densities, if you will.
And it's
more numbers.
It's so weird in the suburbs,
it's a number game.
Yeah. All these clubs in the suburbs, like Fishers, and Noblesville, and Westfield, like you get the sense that like the U.S. men's national team and even some MLS barely exists to a lot of these people. Like they go play, they take their kids to practice, they go home. They're not watching the U.S. They're not watching the game.
Agreed. Yeah, 100%.
They're not watching any games.
I will say, I was kind of surprised because during the winter. Jackson had 2 different indoor leagues he was playing in, and one of them is the Indy Premier facility here down the street.
Yeah,
and they have TVs playing and everything like that. And back when I was a kid and I was playing indoor before the game, I'm like kicking the ball off the walls. I'm just getting warmed up and kicking the ball. I couldn't tell you how many kids waiting for their games to start. So we're sitting there watching EPL games.
That's good news.
So
they weren't watching MLS though. They weren't watching MLS, and they're not watching the U.S. men's national team.
I mean, it's improving, and you have occasionally these club parents who occasionally will take their kid to an Indy 11 game once a season. But yeah, there's no reason Indy 11 shouldn't be selling out 20,000 seats easy.
So my dad, for instance, coached all of my youth teams. Okay. And yeah, he's way more familiar with the EPL. Like, he can name players on Chelsea because he watched Pulisic. He can name all the EPL guys. He knows the EPL. He watches it every morning on the weekends. Does he watch the U.S. men's national team? No. He's not that interested because we suck. And he will watch it sometimes, obviously, with my mom, because my mom is super committed to the U.S. men's national team. That's really interesting. She's German American. She was born in Germany, and she's more interested in the U.S. men's national team than my dad, who looks at our team and goes, it's not that good. And it's not a good watch, too. That's my dad loves the EPL because it's fucking entertaining. And it's back and forth, and it's crazy. He won't watch. If you tell him there's an MLS game on, he is not interested. He's like, and he doesn't even know it. He calls it the MSL. Like, it's like that. It's MLS,
It's a major soccer league.
Yes, that's what he thinks it's called. Like, my dad is that disconnected with American soccer. He loves the EPL, though. And he's not a Euro snob. He's not. But, he just loves to be entertained, and that's the only reason he watches. Because he's got no personal connection with a team, right? So when he's watching sports where he's got no dog in the fight, he just wants to be entertained. He wants to watch good soccer. That's it. Not seeing a lot of good soccer watching U.S. men's national team lately. Just not entertaining. All right. Larry says for $2, Reem looks like Biden out there, an old man. He's old for a center back, still playing on the national team. That's true.
Reem is old enough to be a figure in the Bible.
He's definitely old enough to be some of these guys' fathers.
Jesus walked down from the mountain and said, Saint Reem, I need you to drink from my chalice and stay alive for centuries so you can help the U.S. men's national team win a World Cup.
Larry is teaching, not spamming. Derek, you fell asleep on the job with your dad. Listen, I left my parents when I was 17. And I'm an early leaver, right? Most people leave their parents' house nowadays in their 30s. They wait that long. So I didn't have a long time to develop my parents' interest in soccer. Now, this is the closest I've ever lived to them. The last 3 years, this is as close. I'm 20 minutes away from my parents, not 2 hours, right? So, yeah, now I can try. I'm trying to influence. I've got my mom back to watching the U.S. soccer games again on a regular. My brother, I probably failed there a little recently, but I had him watching all the games. So we'll see. We'll see. Derek's mom. Yeah, we love the USMNT. Her accent, Brett's met my mom. Her accent isn't that thick, but it's still there.
Thick.
Yeah, it's still there.
I will say, to go off the same tangent that you were doing with your parents there. My parents, very active in my youth growing up as far as soccer was concerned. They're going to all of my games. They're taking me to all my practices, taking me places to, additional trainings and stuff like that. And as of today, whenever I go over there for like a cookout or whatever, my dad grabs the remote, just, soccer, and whatever soccer is on, he'll put on or whatever.
Yeah.
But they all like watching U.S. men's national team games. But if I'm not there saying, hey guys, there's a game on TNT at 3:00 on Sunday, they'll never know about it.
Yeah.
And
right. I have to tell them. Yes.
I could tell them that, and they would be like, oh, cool. And they might still not watch it. Or
because they forget.
Dad will be sitting down watching something, he'll flip over to TNT accidentally. Oh, yeah, USA's playing. Okay. Well, we're down 2-1 to Mexico. Oh, okay.
Derek, does your mom follow the German national team? Yes, she does. She also is busy watching the women's Euros right now with the German national team. So, yes, she follows both. But if the U.S. are playing Germany, she's rooting for the U.S. Trust me. She is. Derek mom backstabbed Timmy Chandler. No, she didn't. She just did some interviews with him where she was the translator for Timmy Chandler. She didn't backstab him. She loved Timmy Chandler. She was a big fan of his.
I'm kind of surprised Larry didn't say Derek's mom was backstabbed by Timmy Chandler.
Oh, took it in the caboose. Yeah, he said that before, though. Maybe that's played out already.
Yeah.
All right. What else we got, Brett? Oh, God, we got my cousin, Carly.
Yeah. An Angry American says, for $2, Reem sat behind Jesus in the second grade. Or Jesus. I thought he was talking about Ferreira at first.
All right, Carly. What did my cousin have to say? Let's find out.
Very important players that could have won the game versus Mexico. So I still think from a play standpoint, a talent standpoint, they still need some of those guys that weren't there. But I feel like overall, this was a really good opportunity to kind of set the record straight as far as how Pochettino wants to run the team. He said he's not a mannequin, so he is the one dictating and coaching the team and making decisions. And I think it was telling as far as some of the quotes that even Reem and Tyler Adams had after the match and just talking about, well, now we know what the culture is, which
I got to pause that at some point there. It's running too
Wow.
long.
Yeah, I mean, she's just kind of saying what we're saying. Poach has asserted himself. He's taken over the team completely. It used to be a player-run team under Berhalter. Even Berhalter admitted that. And those days are clearly over.
Yep. There is the game plan. You guys have to abide. Otherwise, you might not get called in.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, we can get into that. I mean, how did you not know what the culture was and the idea?
The culture always changes from coach to coach, it seems like. And that's the big problem. We used to have a culture. We used to have an identity. And then Klinsmann came in here and completely turned it topsy-turvy.
Well, he tried. And then he went back to the true and steady.
Yeah.
At the World Cup, he went back to conservative ball. Let's be really honest. He wanted to change the culture. He did not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
Identity of the team was. But I think that it's going to send a message, and I think the September windows are going to send an even bigger message as to what's going to happen. But overall, I think it was a good thing because I think some of those players, Christian, who knows if Gio will even be part of the squad, Weston, they now have to come back in and adapt themselves to the newly created identity of this team.
I mean, she's all right about all that. That's why we were telling you last week and on Pete's show that probably 9 of the 11 starters from the Gold Cup games, or all 11, are going to be in camp.
Yeah.
And they may not start. We don't know. But they're there when we bring back the golfers. And I want to have dinner with my mom and my friends. And I want to go to a hookah bar. And all those guys come back. When they all come back, they better be ready. Because the culture's changed. Poach is in charge. And he ain't putting up with any bullshit or lollygagging. No lollygagging. And so that's where we're at. And they better, as Adam said, they better figure it out fast. Or they're not going to get called up again. Warning shots have been fired.
Yeah, and I guess this goes against what I tweeted to Carly, because I interpreted this as her saying that these are all people that opted out of the tournament, which isn't factually correct at all. But that's not necessarily what she's saying here. Now that I've listened to it a second time, she's saying, kids are FaceTiming me. What? It really threw me for a loop there.
No,
what she's saying is that the culture is there's a culture that's established. You know, Reem and Adams had specified this in their quotes that they mentioned this in, and that, like you said, the players who are coming into camps, treating them like mini vacations. You know, doing a training session, then going golfing, hanging out with friends and family all night, then going to sleep, and then rinse and repeat.
Yep.
That's got to change. And if it's not going to change with them, then we'll see you after 2026, I guess.
There'll be no more trips to museums, zoos, or Gettysburg. Those days are over.
Yeah.
And the days are over that their voice is larger than the manager's. Those days are done. He's got Adams and Ream on board, basically echoing what Poach is saying right now. So.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, here's Lawless talking about his starting 11 from September.
Oh boy, I haven't seen this.
You might be surprised, Derek.
This Gold Cup. Why don't we use that as sort of a jumping off point for this discussion?
Yeah, and so this was an interesting little exercise because we're coming off of this Gold Cup.
So you got Pepe up top, Pulisic and Weah, Tillman, Adams, McKinney, Robinson, Ream, Richards, Dest, and Turner.
He nailed it.
Although I'm sus on the Turner pickup, but he's going to talk about Turner and Freeze here in a second.
That's minimal.
Yeah,
I can fucking. This is the best Poach, like mind melding ever. If there ever was one, or maybe I'm not even a mind meld with Poach, but at least the best lineup he has ever put out.
Yeah,
Lawless.
This is looking at this lineup. I mean, obviously you have 3 Gold Cup players there, like starters. Let me rephrase that because Turner wasn't a starter. He was there, but he wasn't really playing. You've got Ream, Richards, and Adams. And Tillman, there's 4. Never mind, it's 4.
Yeah.
So four of the. Let's throw Turner in there. So there's 5 total. Right there, 5 out of the 11. I think that's a pretty good. Mix as far as what we assumed would be returning A-teamers from the Gold Cup squad, and then the returning A-teamers from Europe that weren't at the Gold Cup.
I am just so happy there's not some weird shit in there like there usually is, like Jesus Ferreira.
Yeah.
Playing center forward or Agyemang or Brian White. Yeah, I mean, he usually throws in one troll in the lineup.
Well, you got to remember that Agyemang was that was the 3rd best player of the tournament.
Yeah, bullshit
for him. Yeah, I thought that was his striker rankings, but yeah, I mean that. But this is what I think a lot of fans would do. But will Poach throw a monkey wrench in there?
Do you ever get the feeling that since Lawless has met the YouTube sphere of independent shows, he's been on our show, he's been on Tax, he's been on Will's.
Yep.
You get the feeling sometimes he's like, well, at this point, now that I've had all these connections with this sphere out there, if I say something really absurd, they're going to come after me. They're going to let me know. They know I'm a likable guy now. I've hung out with all of them. They like me. And I don't want to say anything really absurd anymore. But he did then with the Agyemang thing, being the 3rd best player in the tournament so far. Yeah, that was crazy. But, at this point, he's let us all know as well he's a troll. And he's been really open about that. I'm a troll. I'm going to troll sometimes just to get attention for the game.
Could you see in this lineup, though, under Poach, that Pulisic doesn't start the first match and Luna starts over top of him?
It would be media at the height, the real mainstream media nightmare for him to do that. Like, it wouldn't be just us bitching. It would be everyone bitching. From the Stu Holdens to the Lawless to the Jimmy Conrads to the Charlie Davies would fucking have a fucking shit himself if that happened.
I don't know, man. The Lloyds and the Lawless, man, it sounds like both of them would understand or even be fine if they were poached to leave Pulisic at home during September.
I don't think a lot of other people would. I think it would cause a massive disturbance in the force. And I think there would be a lot to answer for. Like, is this punishment? Are you punishing him? Yeah, because if you are, that seems kind of petty. and then we'd have this all new controversy. It'd be great for our show. Please do that. It'd be great. We'd have a lot to talk about. But in the end, do you really want to shake things up so bad and cause so much outside of the team controversy? Because that's all going to echo back in. You don't need that. It'll be disruptive to the team as a whole.
Well, and again, I could see Luna starting over Pulisic in the first match as an indication that Luna came out here. He's balled all Gold Cup, and Pulisic, I'm sorry, but you got to work your way back into the lineup. So you'll come in as a sub, and if you play well, then we'll see what happens against Japan.
I would see it more likely that Luna starts over Weah, frankly.
It could be.
Yeah. And I don't think Reyna is even going to make the team. I don't think he's going to be in the 26. So
no, he needs to get some playing time.
Well, he needs to find a fucking club.
That's what I'm saying. Poach is not going to call him back in unless he's getting some kind of playing time somewhere. Even then, it might not even happen.
Right, because he's already said he doesn't like his playing style and it doesn't match what he wants to do as a coach. He said it. He said it. So it's not, we don't have to decode this. He's already said he's not the kind of player that fits into my system. So, Gio, good luck, buddy, finding some way to get back in this. Mm-hmm. Good luck.
Well, maybe he gets that move to PSB and he rebuilds himself. Who knows?
Right.
Where a lot of people were excited and enticed, if you will, back into this national team tent. All right, so much talk about Matt Freese in goal, and he had that moment. It was viral and saving penalties. But other than that, he didn't stand on his head in any type of game. A lot of games he wasn't challenged, to be fair. And in the Mexico game, I don't think he could have done anything on any of the goals necessarily, other than the mistake that he made in the group stage.
So, what he just said there is Freese had that one brilliant moment in the PK shootout, but aside from that, he didn't really do much. Well, he wasn't really tested, and none of the goals outside of his blunder against Haiti he could have stopped. Wait, then why is he getting a negative knock here?
Why?
Basically, he just said he did all he had to do. That what he was tested to do, and all the goals he couldn't do shit on.
And I do think Poach didn't do this by accident. He decided over the camp he preferred Freese. Otherwise, you play Turner. But Turner was disappointing versus the Swiss game, along with all the other people he turned into absolute rejects after the Swiss game and never got any minutes ever again. There are a bunch of them from the Swiss game. He never played again. Never. McKenzie, Turner, there are more. Paxton. So some guys took a hit for that game, and one of them is Turner. And once you hand over the keys to Freese, and he did the heroic stuff that he did, yes, okay, I'll use the word, in the penalty kicks, it's his job to lose at that point. So exactly. Turner's gonna have to win it back somehow. So I'd agree with you, Freese over Turner. And yes, this is the whole segment where we will, at the end of this, as we're talking about Poach's decision-making, get to how we feel at midterm about Poach's. We'll get to the summary at the end, but we will get there. But this is all about analyzing what Poach is going to do going forward. Soccer Dad in Cali, thank you, brother, for $20. IMO, barring injury, the Lawless lineup will closely resemble the preferred 2026 World Cup lineup. Goalkeeper is probably a coin flip. Agreed. But I don't know how much of a coin flip it is right now. We'll see. Yeah. And the center forward position will be a Pepe Balogun battle. Yes, it will. A lot of Gold Cup panic for not. I don't think, I don't feel panicked about it. I feel kind of uncomfortable. I'm not sure we got enough out of that Gold Cup.
Well, and it was nice. It's nice to get the likes of, say, a potential contender for goalkeeper and Freese. I mean,
right? That was good.
Is he any better than, say, Turner in his prime when he confidence abound? No, but he's better than Turner we have now.
Yeah, Turner now's broken.
So we got a potential goalkeeper contender. Our center backs have finally gelled together, and again, lesser opposition, but still, it was nice to see.
Richards shined. Reem had moments that were not great, but he is almost 40.
Then Tillman and Luna built their
Yes.
case.
Tillman had a chance to come out of his U.S. men's national team funk. It was great to see him come out of the funk.
Yeah, there's definitely some niceties with this Gold Cup. What would have been nice, even more nice, is to have some of our fringe players or some fringe players from Europe to have gotten their chance to shine.
Right, like Yaos and the Scallies, who got not
Tessman,
called up.
Busio.
The Tessmans, the Busios, although maybe he saw him already and was like, you know what? Not that impressed. I'm going to try a bunch of other dudes. That's what he did.
Yeah.
Or it was part of the message sending. Hey, you clowns that I've been calling up who want to go golf and go eat breakfast with your mom and then hang out with your boys at night at the bars or have dinner, whatever. Hey, that's all out. That's gone. When you come here, it's all about the team. You all coming together. And yeah, I get it. Yeah, lots of people think Al Smith. I'm just saying there were other options, to give guys opportunities, the Fossies, whatever. A lot of people don't like Fosse either.
I'll say, yeah, might be mid, but I mean, he offers something that we lacked, and that's width.
Yes, out wide.
He would have brought, and same thing with Zendejas to extent. He would have brought them width.
Yep.
There were players, we've talked about this. There were players that were missing from that squad. Even if you want to take out the mini vacation crew, even if you want to take them out, there's still other players that we could have taken a look at.
There's only 2 players who said no, Pulisic and Musa. That's it. That's it. This would have been an opportunity for Wiley. This could have been an opportunity for, we mentioned, but CCV or Trusty or, God forbid, Jonathan Klinsman. Tessman.
Oh, the other positive here is that this might have been the last time we saw Miles Robinson on Poach's side.
That's true. We did, like Aiden Morris got blown off here too, right? Gio Reyna, you could have fought for him to come because Dortmund weren't going to play him a whole 12 minutes in the Club World Cup. And, Weah didn't play at all for Juventus. So go talk to Juventus and make sure you can bring him in. We got none of those things. We got a few, like as you pointed out, a few diamonds here. I guess diamonds might be too. But we got some positives. There weren't enough, though. For the most,
Emeralds?
Yeah.
Sapphires?
Something like that. But for the most part, it wasn't all we wanted to have come out of what will be the last competitive the last competitive tournament we're going to play before the World Cup.
Yeah.
It would have been really nice if there was more from this. But yes, this is a good line from Lawless.
All right. What was your take on Adams' performance throughout the Gold Cup?
It was mediocre to medium. And I think he spelled it out. I wasn't physically all there. Yeah. I was burnt out. And he looked it. He looked tired. He looked slow to react, mentally, physically exhausted at times, and like he was battling something. That's what he looked like when he was playing.
Edgy Sports says, I wish our competitive tournaments were competitive.
Yeah, I know. Maybe it's not fair to call it a competitive tournament, but, I guess legally it is competition. So, all right.
All right, here we go. This is Lloyd talking about if she were Poach.
Well, if I were Pochettino,
Yes,
I would leave them out because I think that sends a strong message to the players, to the entirety of the team. And
September winner,
yeah, the drama surrounding this team before going into the Gold Cup was everything you don't want to talk about. And so we spent the entire buildup of the Gold Cup, talking about all of these unnecessary things. And you go into the Gold Cup and everybody's writing off this team. And then they inject some passion and grit and heart that we've been wanting to see this team do for so long. So I think that he leaves them off and he kind of sets the record straight as far as this is my team. This is how I'm coaching. And if you don't want to come in and play a role in how you're supposed to be part of this team, then you won't be here. But
Cuz, no, This is a big problem with this. There are two fish we're talking about here who declined to come. Two. Musa and Pulisic. And she's throwing out this giant net. She's catching all these other fish in the net who don't belong in the net.
What the fuck, man? What the fuck?
Yeah, all of a sudden, Desmond's he's trying to swim through the waters, and he's in the net too. Because, Carly, you just threw a giant net out to the water, and you're talking about one or two people. So you're saying don't bring Musa and don't bring Pulisic. The rest of the guys, they were either at the Club World Cup or they weren't called up. Period. So that's a giant net you're throwing for two fish. That's all I'm saying. And that it makes it sound. If you were a casual watching this show, you're like, yeah, fuck them all. Fuck all those fuckers. Then you're like, wait a minute. There are only two fuckers.
Yeah.
There's not like this giant sea full of fuckers. Fuckfish. There's only two fuckfish. Right? That you want to send a message to. So, I think this sends the wrong message. It doesn't provide context. It doesn't spell out who you're talking about. Well, they don't want to say that because she said, well, I'm specifically talking about Musa and Pulisic. No, I don't think she's done her research, and I don't think Carly knows there are only two players that said no. That's it. Only two. Musa, Pulisic, and they just both to play at AC Milan.
It's clear that Gio wanted to play in the Club World Cup, and it's clear that Weah wanted to play in the Club World Cup, and that's why they said no to Pochettino.
Yeah, not true. Pochettino long before made the decision that none of the Club World Cup guys were coming.
Yep,
he said it.
Including the friendlies too, apparently.
Yeah, he said it months before. All the Club World Cup guys are not coming back. They're not going to be called up for this camp. So Reyna, Weah, McKennie. Now, I'm not saying any of those three aren't the guys that like to go to hookah bars and play golf, because, yes, some of them are those guys. And they don't like turkey and Italian food. That's their problem. But
not Turkish food, but turkeys.
Right.
Or Italian food from Italy.
You don't want to lump all the players that didn't show up for this into the same basket. It's a really bad.
I wonder if it's poor. It's poor description, because she was lumping them all in for the culture aspect, and now she's lumping them in because they didn't attend. But I wonder if she's lumping two different groups in the end: the then attends and the not with Pochettino's culture type thing.
Maybe, but then she needs to say that, because that's not what she's saying. Like, you're telling me all the people that he didn't call up for this window, like the Testmans, or were options like the Fossies and the Wileys, they're all in on this bad culture. Maybe this was the time to get them to buy into a new culture. And you failed. And the Sargents, all right, were called. Well, funny enough, my dad's like, what the fuck's wrong with Sargent? Why isn't he coming? Why isn't he here in the Gold Cup? My dad, Sargent. Well, he wasn't called up. So it's not his fault. Soccer, footballing reasons. People still don't seem to understand what that means. Footballing reasons. And at least guys like Joe Lowry have tried to clarify this. Means we don't want you on this team because we don't think either that you're good enough for it, or we'd rather look at other people because you weren't that impressive last time. That's what that means. That's what it means. All right.
Much out of him. It would not surprise me in the least if he makes an example of multiple players, whether it's Christian Pulisic or anybody else. It would not surprise me in the least if he again lays down the law by the decisions that he makes. And I think he can. I think he can afford to do that. But again, you're just kicking the can down the road in that.
Do you think he can afford to leave his some of his top players at home?
No.
Why
There's
not,
too short a time between now and the World Cup. There is no time to punish people. We got limited windows. You use September to send even another message to these other guys. I think they all got the message. All the guys,
Express, yeah.
all the other guys that have been left off the team, and all the two guys who didn't decide to show up, who were called up, have been hammered at Landon Donovan's show, at by Adams, by Ream. They have been sufficiently reamed about those two guys about their non-showing up for this, mostly Pulisic, by Poach and the players now. That message is very clear. I think the message has gotten through. And it better have, because as Adams says, if you show up to the next camp and this message hasn't gotten through, you're just not going to get called up again. Not word for word, but that's what he said. So I think the message is clear. I don't think there are going to be people who are going to be punished, but I do expect that the 11 starters from the Gold Cup will also be on the roster, just to bring that culture that we're talking about to the next camp. No more golf, no more hookah bars, no more late nights, no more parties, no dinners with mom and dad and group of your friends. All over. That shit's done.
Yep.
Number 10 pecking order.
Yeah, and if in the assessment,
Let me first off preface this by saying, you have Luna, you got Tillman, and there's always Gio in the wings here. And he's just asking about the pecking order of the number 10 spot now.
Okay.
from Pochettino, he says, this guy's just a smidge better. I'd rather have a guy around that I trust, that I know is going to work hard, that's not going to be an asshole, and I'm going to bring that person in over. Now, if it's a major difference, then basically any coach would say, my job is to get them to win, so I'll deal with the asshole. But to the extent that you can mitigate the asshole, all right, never been so much asshole talk on the State of the Union. You do what you can.
And there's a follow-up here, but I mean, who could he possibly be referring to when he says the asshole?
Reyna.
Yeah.
Was Reyna an asshole and a child asshole at the World Cup? Yes. We said it here on the show. All the people saying that he just generally is an asshole on all the teams and the managers he's played with are wrong. Because if you are, managers leak that shit or they call you out in the press for it. And none of his other managers have said anything remotely like that. Number one. And a great example of that is when Julian Green took a loan to Stuttgart. Remember that? His manager came out and said, playing with Julian on the field is like playing with 10 players instead of 11. He doesn't put in the effort. I'd rather have a guy here who tries and is busting his balls. So, you think he's talking about Pooley? Did you get that feeling, Brett?
No, because I thought he was talking about the 10 rule, which I guess could be Pulisic in the end too.
And Pulisic's not an asshole. And no one's ever called him that. He's a super, in fact, his problem is he's super, super nice. Like way too nice. So, I don't know.
Real quick. Larry, you only had one super chat, and that was the one talking about Reem looking like Biden.
And we read it.
We read that one already.
Yep.
There's no other super chat. You can play my super chat. I already did that. We only played the one.
Mm-hmm.
Scroll
All right.
back. Ain't
So,
done.
I thought he's talking about Reyna too, but you're right. He could be talking about Pulisic because he's a 10 at sometimes for Poach as well. So maybe that is what we're talking about. I don't know. I really wish that people stop using code words and start using players' names. The good thing about our show, we don't code anything here. We just tell you who we're talking about. We don't have any worries about hurting anybody's feelings. So go ahead, Brett.
You think Weston comes in?
Weston might be Weston might be even more so than Pulisic, one that gets used to be made an example of.
Yeah. The only issue there is
Well, let's hear Mossy's thing here. The only issue real quick.
his excuse was legitimate.
I don't think it has to do with him.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously,
yeah,
he went to the Club
it wouldn't
World
be
Cup.
a punishment.
I think it would
if
be
he
like,
just doesn't
listen,
rate him that highly. Or
you need to be the player that we think you can be, and I'm worried that you're not going to do that. And look, I know Weston is.
Yeah. So it is facts there. But could Weston be made of an example and be left at home, or maybe come and just ride pine?
I don't think any of these guys are going to be left at home. I think the only difference is instead of some of the other guys from Europe that you would think would usually show up and there would only be 2 MLS players on this team, there are going to be 11 guys who started throughout the Gold Cup that you're going to see on this squad that help build the culture. I do not think these guys are going to be. I think the message has been very clearly sent. Do you feel like the message, Brett, has not been clearly sent?
No, I think it's pretty much there.
Do you really think it's necessary to send more of a message in September? Unless you think these guys are fucking daft. If you think they're complete idiots and haven't gotten the fucking picture now, you don't think Adams has been texting McKennie and Pulisic and others and saying, hey, there's a new sheriff in town, and you better get on board because he ain't fucking around. He's not a mannequin in the sense that he's not there to be a placeholder. He's not a fucking statue of a coach. He's the boss. You guys better get on board with this next time when you come. You don't think Adams has texted those guys? Yeah. You don't think that those guys have heard the interviews with Adams, have watched the Poach fucking conversation go on? Fuck, Pulisic was so upset about what Poach said on the Timmy show with LD. He had to get on Jimmy's show with Davies and Miola. That's how upset he got about it. And that whole thing, well, I don't really let it get to me, Bullshit. It got to him. Because he called up Jimmy and said, listen, I need to come on your show because I need to give my side of the story. That's how it happened. Jimmy didn't tell me that. So don't blame Jimmy for me knowing that. I'm just telling you I know. That's what happened. The show was not planned. It was off the cuff last minute.
Larry $2 says ban Malik Bello Jedi unless they get a Greg for life tattoo. For me, falls up and says I need new material.
But at least you know it, Larry.
All right, so we kind of covered this topic, but this does lead into a nice little zinger at the end. So I did want to cover the weather debate again because I kind of like this straightforwardness on this debate.
Yeah, one for the road. There's been a lot of talk this summer about weather, and in particular about the heat. Now, it's been relative to the tournaments that we had, whether it was the Gold Cup or actually much more so when it comes to the Club World Cup. And when I say talk, what I really mean is a lot of whining and
he's right.
A lot of whining. Yep. Let's see, 48-25.
I mean, they're giving you orange, breaks, Gatorade breaks. Come on.
Yeah. Quit being little sissies about it.
In the summer. And a lot of this complaining and this whining is coming from people that either I think have never experienced a tournament in the United States, or they were either too young to know what was happening back then or just haven't. And let's also be honest, maybe it involves a lot of European players that don't necessarily do that on a consistent basis. Suck it up, Buttercup. You got to figure it out.
Knew he was going to say that. I knew he's going to say suck it up.
Quit being a little bitch is basically what he's saying.
I mean, he could say worse, I suppose.
Yeah. All right. And the last little bit thing here. So there's a lot of whining. We've talked about it, but the whining of the weather. Carly jumps in, though.
But just to make note, you never hear the women complaining about anything.
Well, not about anything.
Maybe about other
relative
things.
to the weather.
But weather.
You're not saying women never complain about anything,
Well,
because I would definitely push back on that.
Yep, true.
You don't hear the women argue. Women, you're saying women don't complain? No. But she's got a great point there in the sense that the women's national team, aside from their equal pay argument, comes out. They come out every game. They play the game. They talk about the game. And you don't hear any of them bitching. It could be 99 degrees at the stadium. They go out there, they play. Maybe they get a water break, who knows? But you never really hear them bitching about that type of stuff.
No.
We've got a lot of prim and prissy little boys playing the game right now.
A lot of European prima donnas for sure.
Yeah. Was it one? Steven goes, women not complaining.
Yeah. If any of you have been married, that comes with the job. Complaining. Yes. Your spouse complaining. Yes. All right. Is that it?
That's all for that. Yeah.
All right. So we talked a lot about Poach there and the message he sent out. It's time for the midterm grade for Poach. And I think you can't necessarily blame him for putting his foot down and saying, I'm the boss. I'm not a mannequin. And I'm taking this shit over. So if I had to get him a grade for that specifically, I'd say, all right, that's a B plus so far. It didn't have to be this messy though. So I'm giving you a B minus. But at the same time, I got to look at what's going on the field too. And man management, time management, formation, patterns of play, predictable as ever. Very dogmatic setup. Like to the point where the other team knows exactly what we're going to do every game. Same lineups, game after game after game. So man management was horrible. So now that B minus is coming down to a C. Oh, wait. Bad media presence. Calling out players, causing controversy. Unnecessary. Talk to your players, talk them through the process, tell them why they're not going to, you don't accept what they're going to do in private, so we don't have to come on Jimmy's show and defend himself. Like that should have been a long conversation between you and Pulisic, but it wasn't. Pulisic said, I want to do this. You said, fuck off. The conversation was over. Instead of saying, I know that's what you want to do, but let me tell you what's at stake right now and why you need to be here like Adams is. So bad communication. So now I'm dropping him down to a C minus. Results against anybody who's worth the shit have been horrible. So now I'm dropping you down to a D plus. So right now, my midterm for Poach is D plus, C minus, somewhere around that area. And
minus is a reasonable one. They've had some decent performances, and I can't take away from the fact that obviously some of the performances and some of the quality does fall on the players themselves. Of course, this Gold Cup, the quality of player wasn't necessarily there, but they had heart, they had grit, they drove, and you got to the finals. I agree with the man management aspect. Horrible stuff. But that's across the fucking board. Even prior to the Gold Cup, he was still subbing in way too late at times.
Yeah.
And sometimes not at all. Oh man. I was gonna bring in Luna and Gio against Panama in the extra time in Nations League. Remember that?
Yeah. Yep.
That fell flat on your face.
It's a lot of weird shit where I just don't think he's really understood the whole market of players that we have. And I think he's still clueless right now about who his guys are. He hasn't gotten everybody on board. Adams on board. Reams on board. Pulisic, not so much. McKennie, I don't know. The message has been sent. I will give him some credit that a message needed to be sent. We will find out more in September. I'm going to give him a C minus. It's my grade for Poach right now. I do want to see something better on the pitch, though, like how we play. I don't think you score a goal against Mexico and then decide to sit the fuck back. Like this guy, as a club manager for his whole career, high pressed selectively, but we stopped doing it as soon as we scored a goal.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of weird inconsistent shit going on the pitch. You could say, well, he didn't have all the players. He's never had all the players. Well, that's on him too, in some cases, because there were other options and he just decided not to take them. In this case, the Gold Cup, to send a message. I think a cultural message to the whole team. So I won't give him a D+. I'm going to give him a C- in the end.
I'm curious. They came out and they said, hey, we have our own medical team that evaluates the players we call in. That's why, Des went back. That's why Bala went back.
Yeah.
But how injured must they have been, or not in shape, or not whatnot? If Adams was sitting there and saying, like, hey, I wasn't in shape to play every single game, 90 minutes, due to my injury issues that I had. It's just like, how badly do they assess that? But then they go back, and Dest and Bella are both training with their clubs.
Yeah, Balogun was training with his club the next week.
Yeah.
And as far as I understand it, so is Dest. So I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever know. Maybe they showed up and they were lollygagging in practice or something. And he's like, you know what? They got some issues anyhow medically. They're both coming off injuries. So fuck them. Send them off. Get them out of here. I don't know. We will never know that. No one's talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a conspiracy theory if that's true. But maybe they really were that injured. But then, it's kind of weird when you're watching 5 days later a video of Balogun practicing and kicking balls into the goal 5 days after he was sent home. So it is weird. A lot of shit's going on behind the scenes and in front of us as well. A lot of it took place right in front of our faces with the whole ballistic defense and on Jimmy's show, with Poach going on the opposite show with Landon Donovan and Timmy, and the barbs being thrown back and forth. It's not a great look, but then Adams has stepped up as the messenger, the bard for Poach, and said, hey, motherfuckers, if you come back and you don't get back on board right away and fix the culture or engage in the culture as Poach wants it to be, being fucking all balls in. When you show up, you grab your balls, you take them out of your underwear, you throw them into the pot along with everybody else. And if you don't do that, he might not ever call you up again. So he sent out the message for his coach. His coach pretty much said as much anyhow in the interviews. Oh, you're selecting the players for me now, huh? To the can't remember who that was now. One of the good ones, one of the good media guys. And he laughed at him. But you're just assuming these guys will be back on my team? Don't count on it, bitch. So that's where we're at. What is your grade, Brett? Do you have a grade?
I said C- like 10 minutes ago.
All right.
That's what I was going to say initially. You're like, yeah, D+. I'm like, all right, finally, it's not going to be me saying the same thing you say. And you're like, I'll give him a C-. I'm like, you bastard.
All right. Well, glad I didn't hear you say C-. Now, so we end up in the same spot, which is good. All right. I think that's going to do it for tonight. It was a long night. We knew it was going to be. We will be back on Monday with another show. And for the 352 of you who were here on both Twitter and YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe, share it with your grandma, and ask your stepsister for forgiveness. We will be, I guess we'll see what happens between over the weekend. Not a lot can. So Monday's show could be quite short, but we say that all the time. But it never is. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you soon. Good night.
That hurt.
Blowjobs are a no for me.
It is a skill. It is a practice skill. It is a necessary skill.
The secret to a great blowjob is saliva, saliva, saliva.
It's important for us to learn from this because I think we lose because we beat ourselves.
You need to swallow it too.
I don't understand the problem here.
that people don't understand. Esophagus is the main player of the game.
Try to stay away from it as much as I can.
You can start by licking the dip.
I didn't understand it, but
Patrick Agyemang to Bambi or a newborn giraffe or whatever.